A really good day for both the Celtics and Bruins on Martin Luther King Day on opposite coasts. In San Francisco, the Green got ahead and stayed ahead in a 40-point beating of Golden State, 125-85. Joe Mazzulla cleared the bench with about 8 minutes left, and he saw the reserves push the lead as high as 45 after that.
I think just continuing to use the versatility of our team, especially when we're fully healthy, being able to get to different stuff that we can do. And the guys do a great job of making sure that it's connected to the matchups, how teams are defending us. But it's just a different way for us to play, especially when we're fully healthy.
Jason Tatum led 6 Celtics in double figures with 22 points. This West Coast road trip continues against the LA Clippers tomorrow night. The Bruins scored 4 unanswered goals in the third period. They beat San Jose 6-3 at TD Garden. Charlie Coyle had back-to-back goals in the third to tie the game and then put the Bruins ahead to stay. They're in New Jersey tomorrow night. As for the Patriots, Mike Vrabel's search for assistant coaches has begun to pick up pace. He has brought back special teams coach Jeremy Springer and reportedly hired former Tennessee assistant turned Rams game management assistant John Streicher. He has also signed Red Sox director of baseball analytics Joe McDonald. ESPN reports he has requested permission to speak to Miami outside linebackers coach Ryan Crow about becoming his defensive coordinator, too. The Chicago Bears have apparently hired Detroit offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach, and Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn will have an in-person meeting with the Jets today. At the College Football Playoff National Championship, Ohio State beat Notre Dame 34-23. And the Baseball Hall of Fame will announce its class of 2025 tonight. Ichiro is considered a lock. CC Sabathia, Carlos Beltran, and Billy Wagner are also possibilities. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services, now offering up to $2,000 off a new heating system. Book your free estimate today at Rodenheiser.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
Fred Toucher on Instagram. Follow and see dog humping videos.
And Hardy.
I'm going to withhold sex!
On 98.5.
Hello!
Hey there.
Yo.
Can we use this for the radio?
What? Let me hear you say, oh. Na, 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 na.
Crush me, mommy!
Just not enough booty to go around?
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'll chase you around a little bit.
Wow.
Holy smokes!
Instagram.
I want to dip it in. What?
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun.
Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
So that means nothing.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. We are in the Town Fair Tires Studios, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Simply go to YouTube and search 98.5 The Sports Hub. We are live on that thing. That's what we got going. We got a lot today. We got Andrew Callahan in for an hour. Fluto Shinzawa. There's a lot going on with the Bruins. He's got a lot of ideas about what's going on with that. Hardy brings back one of, Hardy and I, before, January of last year, had worked together like probably, let's say, 20 times.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite bits, and one of yours too.
Oh, believe me, this is a labor of love. This bit I was working on yesterday.
Yeah, this is a lot of times because I don't, do any of the production. I'll think, oh boy, I feel guilty. I didn't do any of the production. This one, I'm like, okay,
This is
this
all you.
I'm like, this is good for Hardy.
Yeah, I would not have wanted you to do any of the work on this because you probably would have done it wrong.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind this one. Didn't mind this one at all. So.
Indeed. So Hardy and I.
What? First things first, Fred. You and I were both away. Your birthday was last Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was very upset that your gift did not arrive in time. When I returned home from Detroit, there was a package there, and I knew what it was. And your birthday gift has arrived.
Oh, that's nice.
Now,
Look at that.
I already told you a little bit about it.
I don't remember.
I told you, I said, you're going to like it, but you won't like it, and it won't be utilized, but you'll still like it.
Okay, it's in a bag with purple tissue.
Yeah.
It's the Curtis Martin jersey that you weren't given last week.
All right, it is a T-shirt.
Okay.
With a big picture on it, but I don't know what the picture is. I will, without looking at it, I will unfurl it.
Okay.
So I can see it all at one time.
It's upside down.
All right, I will show it to the camera, and then I will show it to myself. Are you kidding? I'll wear this every day.
What? I can't see it. What is it?
Oh my God! This is better than the Labama one that I have about the art contest. It's the teacher from Stand and Deliver.
Oh yeah, it's Kimo. There he is
doing Fingerman. Now, if you don't know, did you get this made?
I had it made, yes.
So did you screenshot?
I had to go through the interwebs and find a thing and then have it pixelated correctly, and that they didn't even like print it on the center of the shirt. It's like off center. So
I don't care.
Yeah.
Who cares? Wow, that's awesome. Oh no, I'm gonna wear that a lot.
That's great.
Oh, I'm gonna wear that. I might not put that in the dryer. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, treat it like one of your good T-shirts. I have some of those.
I don't really have any good T-shirts anymore, but I do have pants that. But if you don't know, Stand and Deliver, Edward James Olmos plays. It's the very true story in quotations of this Los Angeles inner city math teacher who got all these kids to pass the AP exam, but he does a thing you might have seen it referenced on South Park where because the gangsters, they give gang signs with their fingers. He goes, "Hey, finger man, right? You got fingers?" He goes, "I got fingers too. 9 times 2, 1, 2, 18. 9 times 5, 1, 2, 3, 45. He's like, "Yeah, top student." Yeah. And I never understood it.
Neck.
I snip your neck. I never understood it because why is the gangster kid even in the class? And then B, why does he just not kill the teacher? These kids are supposed to be like completely out of control. It really is great. Oh, I got fingers too.
9 times 3, 1, 2, 3, 27. Don't give me no gas.
Don't give me no gas. All right. And then there's this girl that is like the smartest you can tell because she looks like a nerd. And there's 2 things that happen in that movie beside Fingerman. So he goes and the parents want her to work at the Mexican restaurant like all the time, and they don't want her to take the test. And he goes, "What are you doing? She's top student.
She's top student.
Top student." And then there's a overweight girl that gets pregnant, and then a guy dates her anyway.
Well, there's the overweight guy who's also working on his car, and Jaime's taking it out for a ride, and he's grinding the gears. Turn left, Mr. Escalante. You only see right or left. You don't see the road ahead.
It's tough for life lesson.
That's a metaphor. I almost crashed your car. Snap your neck.
Hey, how about I snap your neck? How about I make prison movie? Get get raped. Do you know that Edward James Olmos' movie where he gets? Oh yeah, we talked about it. Edward James Olmos. Hardy told me this. I don't know if he told me about it on the air, but there's a movie that Edward James Olmos is where he plays like it's another true story about this guy that goes like a gangster, right? That goes to jail or something, and he.
Yeah. The Danny Trejo wrote about it in his book. The Trejo is the autobiography, and there was this whole thing where if you were making a movie about gangs in California, especially in the 80s, you had to get permission from the gangs. It was kind of like the making of The Godfather. You better go and talk to someone from the families in New York and let them know that let them know what you were doing. So they used Danny Trejo as their conduit to the gangs. And there was this movie that they were making, the one with Edward James Olmos in it, where I guess they get a couple of things in the movie very, very wrong. Like maybe he gets like punked in prison or something. It's like, you can't say that if it didn't happen to the guy. Number one, if it did, he could never be the leader of the gang, afterward.
Right.
And all this other stuff. And they're like, no, it works better artistically, or works better for the narrative. And sure enough, somebody got killed during the production of it. I think 2 people got killed, I would say assassinated, but we tend to, save that word for heads of state. But 2 people were just, shot, either writers or, assistant directors.
How long ago was this?
80s.
Yeah, the movie's called American Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was like, they went about making that the wrong way.
1992.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a famous scene. He gets raped in the movie.
Yeah.
And in prison. And so that was not. I can't believe they put that in the movie if it was not even true. And then, I can imagine that having some repercussions.
Right. To the point where people from the guys who are followers of that guy went and killed people from the movie.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah, good for them. Well, at least now I have my Fingerman shirt, which I'm sure.
Where did you find that picture? Just the interwebs. How hard was that to find?
It took some doing to get the right one, and then to match the color of the shirt, because then you can pick the color of the shirt, that you want to print it on. I'm like, there was some navy blue, that he was wearing with the hat. I forget why he was wearing the fast food hat. Maybe because
I know why he was wearing the fast food hat, because he's like, hey, you want to work at? Hey, you got a big job ahead of you. Yeah, you want to work fast food? Hey, you want to work fast food? You want to put your fingers in the meat, right? Yeah, fast food. Yeah, so that's why he was having it on. He was telling the kids that they were in line to get fast food jobs.
Yeah.
Unless they took AP Math.
Yeah.
And then there was, this is more, I believe, the movie rather than the thing, but if you look up if it's real or not, the accusation is that there was a lot of cheating, which I would imagine more is because they were Latino kids in the barrio, and people couldn't accept the fact that they did well on the math test, and so they assumed that they cheated.
I think it's Andy Garcia. Who shows up later.
Yes.
Who is the person in charge of
that's in the
retesting.
movie.
Yeah.
But that's in the movie. But there's allegations that the guy cheated throughout his career.
I see.
But I don't think that's. There's no way.
There's no way. And look, the discrepancies between the movie and real life, it didn't happen like the first year. He was teaching some advanced classes, but the fact is he got a bunch of kids to pass AP Calculus, which is impossible. Yeah. I mean, it's really, really tough to do. There may have been in that first year some allegations of cheating that were, in fact, correct. Maybe a couple of the kids did get the test ahead of time. But, yeah, it's dramatized a little bit more than what actually happened.
I'm also assuming active guys in gangs were not taking AP Math. That, active gangbangers in 80s Los Angeles were sitting down into the AP Math class and matriculating with the other students.
Well, would you call Lou Diamond Phillips an active gangbanger just because he was sitting outside the passenger side of that station wagon and threw a beer bottle? I don't know if that puts you in a gang. I mean, he was a ruffian.
Yeah.
Well,
he was perhaps a ne'er-do-well.
he was friends with Fingerman. And he was in the same gang as Fingerman. And Fingerman, why was Fingerman in the AP class?
Because he was just hanging out with his buddy. He had nothing else to do.
But he was in the class.
Look, don't confuse gang member with gang affiliation. And I think
Lou Diamond Phillips was
gang affiliate.
First of all, Lou Diamond Phillips, of course, in a Latino gang.
Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips. He's Native American, is he not? Well, regardless. Lou Diamond Phillips. No, isn't he in the gang?
I think he is.
Yeah, he's in the gang.
I haven't seen the movie in 20 years, but I think he is.
You haven't seen the movie in 20 years?
I'm not.
All right, let me count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 decades. One more year. You can vote. All right. Also, there was one porn site where I could not get pornography in Detroit.
Oh, what? Really? The hotel at a firewall? Is that what happened?
No.
Oh.
There was the X Hamster site, which is my favorite pornography site, was on, and I only had my phone, was behind an identification wall in Michigan. But the other ones, I didn't really use any of the sites, but I'd get up early and I had my own bedroom, and so I was I'd start looking around porn, and the X Hamster was not showing. So I asked my friend if there was the identification thing in Detroit, and he said no.
So that's
just an X Hamster thing.
That's an interesting time to look at it. Wake up first thing in the morning, see what's going on in the world. Check my Apple News, CNN, Fox. Browse some porn.
Single man, got a room to yourself.
Looking at porn first thing in the morning after you wake up.
It was more like I hadn't looked at porn or been with a woman for a few days, so I was or really even talked to a woman in a few days, so I was kicking the tires to see if anything would hit. I was doing a little. I wasn't going to dive deep, but I was going to see if there were any things.
Running it up the flagpole, so to speak.
Yeah, I was going to see because X Hamster's got my algorithm. X Hamster knows what I like. So if I go to the front page, it's got everything that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, that was not available. But then it's a very dangerous trip to Pornhub because I don't use Pornhub. So I get every other jabroni's algorithm, and it's got a bunch of stuff that I think is gross. So I never end up using Pornhub. I'll go to it and I'll go, oh, this is all. I find these women or whatever's going on to be unattractive, so I'll skip it. But Florida's a very real situation. You got to get a VPN and everything else. My son got rid of TikTok and he can't download it. He can't download it now. But my daughter's very happy because she did not get rid of TikTok, and now TikTok is going on. So I don't know. I really don't care. But it's funny to me. They were gonna cancel it, and then I don't think Trump signed an executive order to keep TikTok. I'm not quite sure just how it stuck around. It was all set to be taken away, and then I think it might have been taken away for a few minutes, and then just because Trump during his inauguration speech said he liked it.
He saved it with TikTok. He announced that he personally had saved it.
But shortly after taking office, he issued the order to delay the app's ban for 75 days. The law went into effect on Sunday.
Okay, but he got sworn in yesterday.
He got right. So for a while it was down, and then he signed the order to delay the federal ban of TikTok for 75 days, even though the law took effect on Sunday, and it's unclear that such a move could override it.
And what's funny is the reason that he kept TikTok, even he says it, is that he goes usually Republicans don't win young votes. And I won.
You and I saw the exact same thing.
And
yes.
I won young votes. So because I made TikTok.
Yeah,
I made TikTok.
Well, he also said that Barron put him in touch with all these guys. I don't know who these people are, but Barron said this guy is great. This guy is awesome, which is how he ended up on Joe Rogan, I guess. If you're Donald Trump, how do you not know about Joe Rogan?
Because he's exceptionally old, really old. Do you? But and he did like Theo Vaughn. I'm wondering if this is all good for Theo Vaughn. Like Theo Vaughn was on Road Rules. He's a above average stand up comedian. He's not like he's not like a top 50 guy. I wonder if, being a guy who innocently has all these political guys on, regardless of affiliation, is the best move for Theo Vaughn.
He's on like once a month, right?
Who?
Theo Vaughn on Rogan.
I don't think Theo Vaughn's a Rogan guy. I think Theo Vaughn's his own guy. I think
Vaughn was on Rogan.
I think Theo Vaughn makes money podcasting, but I don't think you make like a tremendous amount of money podcasting, and I'm not sure how much he tours. So I'm wondering if I'm Theo Vaughn and I want to be a stand-up, if maybe I'm taking the foot off the gas a little on the podcast. Because his thing is kind of like, I'm uneducated, like you come on and I'll hear you out. I wonder if that's where if I was guiding his career, if that's where I want to go. All right, so there you go. Thank you, Giovanni, for calling in. I don't really want to know about TikTok.
Oh.
All right, what happened last night? We had the Bruins, we had the Celtics, we had the national championship game, which is on the worst day possible for the national championship game to get any juice.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much going on. We will be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy.
It's in a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, what happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. What's going on?
College football national championship last night. The 8th-seeded Ohio State Buckeyes were taking on the 7th-seeded Notre Dame Fighting Irish. How about that? An 8-7 matchup in the national championship game. And Notre Dame was the underdog going in, but they got the ball first and marched right down the field, John Wallach.
Hunter takes it. He'll keep it. He's in. Touchdown, Notre Dame. It's the opening drive of a lifetime. The Irish lead 6-0. And they start the game with an all-time tone setter. Unbelievable.
28 plays, 14 minutes.
It's one of the all-time tone setters.
Oh, my God. Get a grip.
How about it? Seriously, it took
like
so long.
18 plays. It took them like 10 minutes, and they were running a wing tee.
It was a nice drive. I mean, they marched down the field. They basically only ran the ball like it was.
Yeah, it was a snap to the quarterback who ran off left guard for 5 yards about 9 times.
But
that's what it was.
Ohio State, at least on the opening drive,
couldn't stop them.
Couldn't figure out a way to stop them.
They expected them to pass, which was their problem.
Before the game, the Notre Dame head coach was asked, if you could ask your opponent one thing, what would you ask him? And he said, how many ways are you going to try and get the ball to number 4? Tell me all the ways you're going to try and get the ball to number 4. And that was prescient, I think is the word I'm looking for. I think it's a good word. I don't know if I'm using it right.
Dynamite. I don't care either. That was pretty good.
Yeah. They right away, Ohio State gets the ball back, and
Howard gets the step, takes the handoff, sets up the throw, screens it out right side, and Jeremiah Smith with it to the 5, and he'll dance into the end zone for an Ohio State touchdown. Jeremiah Smith from 8 yards out. He gets what ends up being his 5th touchdown of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was by himself. Best player on the field. Notre Dame forgot to cover him. It was great.
So that touchdown did not occur until the second quarter. Mind you, it was their first possession.
Yes.
But Notre Dame took so long on their opening touchdown drive when Ohio State got the ball back and scored. It was into the second quarter. They would go on to score three touchdowns all told in that second quarter to take the 21-7 halftime lead, and that was pretty much it.
They scored touchdowns the first 4 times they had the football, and they were up 31-7 midway through the third quarter.
Yeah. I will give credit to Notre Dame for making a game of it and scoring a touchdown, getting the 2-point conversion. It was 31-15.
Mm-hmm.
They drove down again, and instead of going for it on 4th down, said, we'll take the 3 points. And I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, oh, you're down 16. You're gonna take the 3 points here, kind of late-ish in the fourth quarter. I don't know if I agree with this, but okay, take the
27-yard field goal from the far hash, and the kick hits the left upright. Oh my goodness. The kick's no good. They're returning it, but it's a dead ball. And I got to say, I'm shocked by the play call, Ryan.
I mean, it didn't make sense numbers-wise to kick the field goal. And you went for it on 4th down twice in the first drive. So that's tough.
It makes even less sense when you miss it.
Yeah.
Or dink it off.
Still need the football
upright.
twice either way. I'm not a college football head coach, but doesn't seem right.
Not a fan.
Ultimately, it didn't matter because,
Ohio State's much better?
No, but I'm sure we'll get to it. But yes. What, kicking the field goal? Because that's not how the game ended. They had Ohio State 3rd and long. Mm-hmm. They just had down 8. They just had to stop them.
Yes. Just wait one moment, please.
And Ohio State, they neglected to cover Again, Ohio State's best
player by far.
And he got the long first down, and that was the end of the game. And that covered, and that was the 8.5, and blah, 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 blah.
Yes,
there you go.
I believe this is it.
Howard out of the shotgun. Back to pass at his own 25. He'll gun that deep down the right side, and it is caught by Jeremiah Smith at the 30 of Notre Dame. He's taken to the Fighting Irish 10-yard line by cornerback Christian Gray. Howard to Smith, getting the Buckeyes into Giant Eagle red zone.
Giant Eagle red zone? Is that at like a supermarket?
I gotta look that up.
I'm taking it. That's a supermarket, and he's just calling plays, chucking in the supermarket.
Hardy, wasn't that like a gas station chain out in New Mexico? Giant Eagle?
Soaring Eagle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, neighborhood grocery store and pharmacy.
Yeah, so the Giant Eagle, Notre Dame, wow, they're really shoehorning ads in there. Wow.
Good for them. You know, that's NTR. That's non-traditional revenue, baby.
Right, and it's arguably, one of the 5 biggest plays of the game, the one that sealed the game, because you get stopped there, you punt, Notre Dame has a chance to tie, and that won the game for you.
That's right.
But so now we'll all know the Giant Eagle.
Yes.
Was the Notre Dame kid. Play that again.
Oh, the story.
Yeah, just play that clip again.
Soaring Eagle.
Howard out of the shotgun. Back to pass at his own 25. He'll gun that deep down the right side, and it is caught by Jeremiah Smith at the 30 of Notre Dame. He's taken to the Fighting Irish 10-yard line by cornerback Christian Gray. Howard to Smith, getting the Buckeyes into Giant Eagle red zone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Giant Eagle red zone. Supermarket.
Maybe if I'm like talking to Giant Eagle, if maybe we could do something else. Like I don't have to jam that in during the play.
The actual play call. You will get a mention. It's not going to be during the play. So while you're, just setting up the next play, okay, here we are. First play in the Giant Eagle red zone.
It's something less innocuous that isn't, I agree, that doesn't have to be jammed in. Like if you watch Bruins broadcasts, the final 5 minutes is sponsored of each period. That kind of thing. But you don't have to say it right when it turns 5 minutes. You can just kind of casually drop it in at some point.
Yeah, I mean, things need to be sponsored, and that's how money's made, and that's how products get moved. That's how people sell things. I mean, I'm aware of all of this. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for radio broadcasts, but maybe not during the call of the play.
Yeah.
Because, again, this is because
it, what's the word I'm looking for? Ruins it.
Yeah. And this is like a game that the Ohio State broadcast can be heard nationally. Like, I know that ESPN does it on the radio, but you can hear the Ohio State and Notre Dame calls of the game, and it's not overly difficult to do. Maybe that's a day that I'm not doing it, the national championship game. Now, this is what's funny about all of this. Notre Dame fans, to their credit, knew they were going to lose to Ohio State, so I don't think they're overly disappointed. They're still they still got a rematch against Northern Illinois sometime, which is going to really get who they lost to.
Yeah,
who's a NPAC school. They're not even a divisional school. They're a commuter school. They're a community college, basically. So, but Ohio State fans are going to pretend that this is great and that this made the season, but it did not. It did not. The loss to Michigan.
Yeah.
And I'm not trolling Ohio State fans at all. I don't care at all about Ohio State. I didn't go to a Big Ten school. Like, I casually follow Michigan State football. I don't, live or die by it by any chance. Any stretch of the imagination. I can tell you this. Ohio State fans would have rather beat Michigan than won the national championship, and there's no doubt about it. Ohio State fans have this inferiority complex to Michigan, and it's great, and the national championship is wonderful, and any other school probably would rather win the national championship than anything else. But Ohio State losing to Michigan at Ohio State this year is made this all okay.
Along those same lines, you two are Big Ten guys. If they lose, if they were Hardy more than you.
I'm a D2, D3 guy.
Yeah. So maybe I should ask Hardy. If Ryan Day loses that national championship game on top of a loss to Michigan, are they considering firing him?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you can ask me. No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Oh, under no circumstances. Ryan Day's considered one of the best coaches in college football.
Okay.
Ryan Day's got bona fides. In fact, I'm not supposed to say this, so I won't tell you who, but there are several former NFL coaches that follow around, that spend a lot of time at Ohio State learning from Ryan Day about modern college football so they can be better professional coaches. So they can Ryan Day is a very well-respected coach in coaching circles. Go ahead.
Yeah, the loss to Michigan by itself wouldn't be enough. The fact that they made it to a national championship game, I think would probably be enough to keep him around, in addition to him being a very good coach and all that. Had they lost in the first round of the playoffs or something, I don't know. Maybe it's a conversation. People would be a lot more upset. But maybe the point you're making, John, is how upset were and are people about the loss to Michigan. There's a fair number of people who don't care enough about the overallness of college football to where if you could give them for the rest of their lives, you can either win national championships or you can beat Michigan every single year. They would take beating Michigan every single year.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. They would. Ohio State fans would rather beat Michigan than win a national title. There's no doubt about it. It's ingrained in them. It's you know how like Yankees, Red Sox, it's more of a Red Sox thing than a Yankees thing. Like it's more the Red Sox fans care more than the Yankee fans.
Yeah.
The Yankee fans win World Series every year. Their payroll is $400 trillion. They don't. I mean, the Yankee fans. It's completely one-sided. I mean, I know that Yankee fans don't like the Red Sox, but it's not this. It's not everything. They don't chant "beat the Red Sox" during random White Sox games.
They don't
Red Sox suck. They don't go Red Sox suck.
Yeah, John's looking at me like he doesn't know if what I'm saying is real.
No, that's not true at all.
Okay.
I know exactly
Well,
what
I
you're
think
saying
it's
is real. I've been there during White Sox games.
So yeah, I know. So anyway, that's I don't think Michigan like loves beating Ohio State, but I don't like Michigan, but Michigan does not care nearly as much about beating Ohio State as they do about national championships. They would rather win a national championship.
I think that's fair. Yep. Well, Kirk Herbstreit was very.
Oh,
very
Jesus
happy.
Christ, with Herbstreit, with this dog of his dog died. Okay. His dog, he had a dog. He would bring it everywhere. I don't know what kind of weirdo he is that he brings his dog everywhere. I'm being serious.
Golden Retriever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he brought it on the road with him. I don't think that dog wants to be on the road with him. Don't you think the dog would rather be home playing? Like he's got to come on a plane and everything else with Kirk Herbstreit? Regardless. He brought this dog with him everywhere, so the dog dies, as dogs do. You've had a dog that's died. I've had a dog that's died. Hardy's had dogs that's died. We've all had probably more than one dog die. Herbstreit has this dog die. Everywhere he goes, on everything on my internet feed is Herbstreit getting his dog getting honored. And now all of a sudden Herbstreit's got another dog that becomes just like nothing happened. He's got this other dog right away that comes with him. Yeah, just got a new one, just popped it in there. He's so sad about the old one. He's just
how dogs work.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it was such a big deal, like if someone's child dies, they don't just go, oh, like here's another one. Like it's all right.
People grieve in different ways. I took 3-4 years. The dog that I had for a long, long time. It's like I couldn't bear the thought of another dog for a long time. Herbstreit, not so much, but he's an emotional guy.
I'm a little emotional. I'm just fired up for these guys. When I call these games, I'm incredibly objective, and I love.
Oh, really? Are you incredibly humble about your ability to call them too?
State teams, but this team, because of what they went through to get to this point, you're just happy,
All right,
started breaking up,
crying,
and they had
baby.
to cut away from him because he was crying.
Yeah, you're big baby.
I get it. You went to
You
the school.
beat Notre Dame.
I get it.
You beat a school that nobody could figure out how they even got there in the first place. Oh, stop it.
Yeah, you beat a school that.
And also, how many national championships is that for Ohio State now?
I don't know.
Well, they won the first one. They won the first tournament. It's been 2014 was the last one.
I think it's 6. It's not like it's never happened before.
Oh, yeah. It's not like it's Indiana won it.
Yeah.
And then, like...
It's not like the Lions winning the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't cry if the Lions won the
Hardy, you
Super
wouldn't
Bowl.
cry.
Eight? And you're crying?
Yeah.
You're crying.
Forget about Woody Hayes in there. 8.
Something about football. These guys have all got the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old girl. Eric, go ahead.
Hey, you asked that question. I'm an Ohio State fan living in New England. It's rough. There's a lot of Michigan fans. You asked that question, would I rather beat Michigan or have a national championship every year? You just said it perfectly. We have 8 national championships. We just got another one. I'd rather beat Michigan every year.
Thank you for being honest. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am crazy. We are crazy fans, I would say, and you said something, it's a credence. There's like a superiority complex to beat Michigan. It just feels better.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it.
I don't know if Breer would agree with you, but I believe he speaks for the majority of
Breer's not an
State
Ohio State fan. Breer is an employee of the program.
But he's an alum.
He's
a fan. He can be both.
Extraordinarily active alumni with almost unheard of access to the team. So Breer calls their coach by he calls him by his first name.
Yeah, he'll casually drop that in whenever we discuss it.
He'll go like Ryan said.
Ryan said this.
He'll say Ryan said. Yeah, that's not a fan so much as his employee. In fact, I don't know why Bert even likes it anymore. Like if you like something,
you're that close to it,
right? Like if something's fun, it's like nice not to have to do anything about it, right? Like it just like you're like an observer. Like I don't want to like walk around the Jets facility and like start making decisions for the team and getting phone calls about it, which that's even a bad example because college is such a pain in the ass with the NIL and transfer, and he's all involved in that garbage. All right, we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics and Bruins both won on the Martin Luther King holiday. Green won out west over Golden State 125-85. They visit the Los Angeles Clippers tomorrow night. Bruins are down 3-2 to San Jose. They score 4 unanswered goals in the third period. They beat the Sharks 6-3 at TD Garden. They visit New Jersey tomorrow night. Mike Vrabel has been busy assembling his new coaching staff. Jeremy Springer has been brought back as a special teams coach. He has also reportedly hired former Tennessee assistant turned Rams game management assistant John Streicher. The Chicago Bears have hired Detroit offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. And at the College Football Playoff National Championship, Ohio State beat Notre Dame 34-23. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Service Credit Union. They've teamed with Charlie McAvoy again this season for 73 reasons to defend New England's first responders. Visit servicecu.org/73. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. Sports Hub app. Get the app. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
We're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hardy, there were two local teams playing last night, but Peter wants to go first. Peter, go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hey, what's up, Peter?
Hi, Peter.
I'd like to see the Celtics go sweep the West Coast trip. What do you think they can do then? Think they can do that, guys?
What have you been up to today? What time did you get up
what
this
have I been
morning?
up to?
Yeah.
Got some good night's sleep. Just
Okay.
having bagels from waffles. How you guys doing?
What do you put on your Eggo?
Syrup.
Just syrup, no butter?
No butter. Butter's clogs the arteries, right?
Right.
You don't clog the arteries. How heavy a man are you?
I used to be 305. I'm 240 now.
Nice.
Look at you.
I was 147 in high school.
140. What, did you wrestle?
I wrestled in Dedham, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dedham's known for their wrestlers.
Dedham's known for their wrestlers?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's where Brutus the Barber Beefcake
That's right,
comes
Hardy.
from.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Peter,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. I don't think you were right in your description there, Nicholas. Nicholas is losing his fastball a little bit over there.
What happened?
I did the right thing, and Nicholas did the wrong thing.
Let's
Don't look at me. You did. I'll talk to you off the air about it. Go ahead.
Let's check in on the Celtics quickly before we get to the Bruins. They were in Golden State to play the Warriors last night.
Buddy Hield 0 for 3 from distance. Golden State 6 of 32. Taylor Brown puts it to the floor, whips it to the corner. Tatum swings it around the horn from Hauser to Pritchard. Open three, got it.
Now, that was the thing of beauty. That time swung that ball all the way around the horn, got back to Pritchard on his fingertips.
That made it 82-55.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was.
you could turn that one off.
That game was over quick. Yes.
The Bruins.
What happened to Golden State?
They're
Remember when they were like they won like their first 10 games or something, and then it all went to crap.
They came here, and Steve Kerr played like 11 guys, and they came here and beat the Celtics, and they were playing good defense, but they were missing 3 of their top 8 guys. Draymond didn't play yesterday. Kuminga didn't play yesterday. Podziemski didn't play yesterday. They were missing a lot of guys.
Kuminga, after this break, Nicholas is going to coming in here
Kuminga in here
and get yelled at.
Best part of the game was Tatum and Brown giving Steve Kerr the cold shoulder after the game.
Nicholas is in there doing the what?
I'm not. First of all, I'm
not.
not even mad at him. He just made a mistake.
Oh.
And does he, Adam, really not know what he did that was wrong?
He really does not.
You do, right?
I don't because I didn't see what the phone screener said.
Turn off your mic, ask him what he put on the phone screener, and then come back and tell me if I'm right.
Okay.
Do it now. All right, here we go. Because I
Nick
don't want to talk about it on the air.
Nick is not currently in trouble, but if he feigns
Right. Now, do you think
quickly.
that was the correct description of him?
I would have put a little bit more detail in.
Because that's a very slippery slope, Adam, when you start accusing people of that and they're not. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I don't even know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Okay, very good. All right, go ahead.
All right. Bruins tied at 1 against San Jose at the Garden yesterday after the first period, and then on the power play in the second.
Here's Lindholm to Zaka, cutting to the back of the net, trying to get it out in front. A chance, they score! Pasternak sent it toward the near post, and it ricocheted off a skated in, and the Bruins have a 2-1 lead.
So there we go. They jump out to the 2-1 lead. San Jose would answer less than 2 minutes later. And then, after another Bruins power play, and a lot of time, obviously, in the zone, an actual power play, and then maintaining possession in the puck in San Jose zone after the power play, this happened.
Wotherspoon's pass is blocked by Smith,
And the Sharks will come the other way with Zetterlund up the right wing side. Zetterlund down the right circle, takes a shot. Save Korpisalo. Zetterlund scores on his own rebound.
Whoops.
Yeah.
That
was great. That was awesome.
The 2-1 lead gone and turned into a 3-2 San Jose advantage. John, you were watching. I did not pick up this particular play, but there was good movement. Good.
They had the power play.
2 minutes in the San Jose
literally,
zone. Another
literally.
minute after that, after the San Jose guy got out of the penalty box.
So I saw this on the plane because ESPN Plus works for some reason out of state.
Nice.
I guess because it's not the home broadcast. And when you turn on your ESPN app, it's just the game was on. Like I didn't even have to do anything.
Okay.
And click on anything; it was just on. And because I follow the Bruins, and so anyway, so they have they get a power play. John's not lying. The entirety of the power play was in the San Jose zone. Then after the power play ended, they kept the puck in there, let's say a minute.
Yep.
And then San Jose goes right back down to the ice and scores. And not much of a goal either.
I want to tell you, this is a part where you put in the San Jose is one of the worst two teams in the NHL. They were 14-28. Before coming in to play the Bruins yesterday.
Not great.
And then let's just finish this up really quickly. Coyle had a couple goals, and then there were a couple empty netters. But the deal is this.
6-3 the final.
Yeah, and so they did win. They're technically in the playoffs. We'll talk to Fluto Shinzawa. Bruins fans need to make a decision internally with themselves. Just if what side you're on. Do you want to ride this out and see if you make the playoffs? Or do you want to start doing what the Bruins have been putting off for 15 years?
We were talking about this. I mean, specifically with this crew and what Don Sweeney should do. What, Fred? 18 months ago?
Yeah,
you and I were talking about this.
It might be time to rip the Band-Aid off and just start. They
won 6-3, but they're fortunate. Pasta banked in a shot. Coyle banked in a shot off the back of a goaltender's pad.
Right.
I mean, they won, but it was not impressive at all.
They're extraordinarily below. Going into that game, they had a 60-something% chance of not making the playoffs. Maybe this trade deadline, because every trade deadline, they go in for it. They do. They have.
And Neely was talking about last week 2 paths to take. I think, honestly, the path where you need to rebuild because this team's farm system is still very atrocious is now. It's time.
All right. So we'll talk to Fluto Shinzawa coming up at 7:20. We'll be right back.
This is Boston's home for sports. Your home for every Patriots game.
It's going to look different, and it's going to smell different.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Celtics opened up their 4-game road trip yesterday by embarrassing Golden State 125-85 out in San Francisco. Jason Tatum led 5 Celtics in double figures with 22 points, but wasn't needed for the fourth quarter. The Green led this one by as many as 45 in the final minutes. They visit the LA Clippers tomorrow night. As for the Bruins, they beat San Jose 6-3 at TD Garden. Charlie Coyle scored a pair of goals a little under 6 minutes apart in the third period.
You stick with it and do the right things and play the right way, and the game tends to fall for you. And sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes, I think more times than not, you're making those plays, and the game kind of finds you. And you play the right way and you get the opportunities, and we found them and we capitalized.
The Bruins scored 4 goals in all over the final 20 minutes for the win. They visit New Jersey tomorrow night. Brand new Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel has been busy. He's brought back special teams coach Jeremy Springer. He has reportedly hired former Tennessee assistant turned Rams game management assistant John Streicher, and Red Sox director of baseball analytics Joe McDonald has joined the franchise as well. ESPN reports that Vrabel has requested permission to speak to Miami outside linebackers coach Ryan Crow about becoming his defensive coordinator. The Chicago Bears have apparently hired Detroit offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn will meet with the Jets today. And at the College Football Playoff National Championship, Ohio State beat Notre Dame 34-23. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the $14.99 Big Deal Meals at the 99, like the chicken and sausage Al Forno, available every Monday through Wednesday for just $14.99. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's called Rising and Grinding.
Start your
Got your finger on the pulse, Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Approach.
Well, Al from SSD was down with the dude. Negative Approach was even before SSD. So anyway, Wayne Kramer, if you watch the video of Kick Out the Jams of them live, Wayne Kramer, the guitar player, you would think he was in a band today. That's how little the culture has changed. It's funny because if you watch something from the 80s, it looks like entirely different from now. But if you watch stuff from the 90s and now, it doesn't really stand out that much. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like a rock band from the 90s and a rock band now, there's not like this wild thing in difference. I saw something about this. Like if you were in the 80s and you saw a band from the 60s, you'd be like, look at these dumb hippies.
Right.
Like it looks so much different. Or in the 80s, if you looked at something from the 70s, even like Saturday Night Fever, which was like late 70s, you'd be like, look at these idiots. Like, look at how they're dressed. Like the polyester suits and the big collars. And then if you were in the 90s and you looked at people in the 80s, you go, look at these idiots with their Z Cavaricis and
yeah, that was only like a decade.
Yeah, but there's like nothing is really changed. Like a skateboarder just 25 years ago, because in the 90s everyone wore those ridiculous pants.
Right.
But like a skateboarder in 2022 does not look that much different than a skateboarder in 2025. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's the whole culture is in flux. It's all dependent on if TikTok stays. Well, I'll tell you this, is that Hardy and I, we both were in Detroit for the big Lions game on Saturday night. We both had booked our trips before we knew the Lions were playing Saturday night, so we stayed. We had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday hotel reservations. I brought my son. I go to Detroit often. I go 3-4 times a year to Detroit. And Hardy, how long had it been since you had been there?
In Detroit, like spent any time in Detroit, I don't know, 10 years at least. I was in Michigan this past spring, but went straight to East Lansing and then came back. So that was it.
Yeah, so Detroit, it's been over 10 years.
Yeah. And everything that you had told me about it was correct. The downtown, even on a dreary mid-January weekend, and really not much to do with the game because I got in there, on Friday, and there was some game-related stuff going on, but just the number of people, the number of options, the number of things to do downtown Detroit, it couldn't be any more different from what it was like when I grew up. So
can you guess what this building I'm showing you a picture is of? It is?
No.
That's that train station that laid abandoned from like 1980 until 2 years ago.
The one that flooded at the bottom and had,
people would play hockey inside of it.
And they found the body encased in ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Fords apparently spent $800 million or something to like rebuild that thing.
Yeah. So being back in Detroit was great, and I got to see relatives as soon as I got in it on Friday, and then it was mostly about killing time before the game on Saturday. Which, okay, long day. I was walking around, got to go to my Lafayette, Coney Island place, which is, an old school hole in the wall. It's right next door to an American Coney Island where they serve the hot dog with the chili, mustard, and onions. That's what you get. And I'd been to American the last time I was there a long time ago. I'm like, I'm going to go into Lafayette. I haven't been in Lafayette in a long time. And it is, you could pay a consultant $1 million and say, I want the aesthetic of an old school greasy spoon, like Greek, like the old Saturday Night Live skit making fun of the Greek restaurant thing. Could you come up and with $1 million in hand, they would not be able to capture what this place is. It has to be inhabited and worked at by 70-year-old Greek guys who are equal parts friendly and angry.
Yeah, they want you out, but they want you to come back.
Need turnover. Gotta have turnover.
What do you want? You go to chili. Go. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
I want two chili guns. You got two. Yeah. Go. What? Fries. This. And then you say Coke, and then of course, it is Pepsi products.
Right.
You want the best? You want the best? Have the best.
The guy who's walking back and forth behind you, there's no room in this place. You're sitting at a stool that's way too low to the counter, squeezed in between two other people, and the guy walking behind you every minute and a half or so is just saying, "Go Lion, go Lion, go Lion, we go Super Bowl! Go Lion, go Lion, go Lion, go Lion, we go Super Bowl!" I'm like, okay, all right, thank you. Two Commanders fans come in, obviously heard this is the place you got to go. You got to go to Lafayette, Coney Island. And the guy is saying, I would like one of your Coney Island hot dogs. I want one without onions, but I want another one with extra mustard and like that. No, you come back when you decide. I come back when you decide. There's like no time for you. It's just, and not in a kitschy, like this is, kind of what you expect when you go in here. You could tell the guy was legitimately annoyed, and he just goes to the next person.
Because it takes them legitimately from the time you order, from the time the food is presented to you, 30 seconds.
Yes. That's
what
there's
it's nothing
about.
Required. It puts the hot dog on a bun and the chili on the hot dog and then the onions and the mustard.
Yeah.
And then it gets shoved to you.
Right. So that was great. And then we were walking around. The I would say out of a day that included a few disappointments. The first disappointment was when my buddy showed up, and he drove down from the Flint area, and we had the brilliant idea of the four of us, me, my buddy, Fred, and Milo, we're going to go watch the early game somewhere up until it's time to walk down to Ford Field, which is not even a half mile away, easy walk. That you can see it. You can see it from the hotel. There's Ford Field. We'll just walk down there, I don't know, like 7 o'clock or something. How many places did we check to try and watch the game, Fred?
Yeah, there was no getting in. It was 4 hours before the game was.
Really?
It was an hour and a half, 2 hour wide. Let me tell you something though about, because I just turned 50. I know Hardy and I'm there with my kid, and when Hardy's friend walked up, I went, oh, he's old. That was what I thought when he's old. Because I just can't come to grips that I'm 50.
I know, and even like so, and he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
So he was like, it was hysterical because when we all moved into college together, he was about to turn 23, and the rest of us were 21.
Okay.
He was the old man.
Yeah, he's like an old man. Yeah, he could vote for 5 years. It was a big thing.
Yeah, but even if I brought like one of my younger friends, they're still your age.
Yeah, he's not
49.
I'm not saying he
50.
looks older than me. I'm just saying
We're old.
Yeah, we're old. Because you and me, like I know what you look like. You don't look like so old to me. I'm me, so I don't feel old. And then when Hardy's friend came up, I was like, oh Jesus Christ! I'm like, he's a nice guy. I like him. Everything was great about him, but he was just like he just looked. I was like, oh God, we're like old.
Oh yeah,
we're old. No girls are gonna care about us.
No,
we're just old.
when you see that, like, have one of your friends showed up at the same age, I'm like, oh, that's what we are. We're a bunch of old guys.
Yeah, now we're like the old people here
with someone's teenage son hanging out with us. Of course, we're old.
Yeah.
So that was disappointment number one, but it ended up being fine because we went back to our respective hotel rooms, watched the early game, ordered up some room service. I'm like, great, okay, let's head down to the game. Everything felt fine. Everything felt right. I was not worried at all. I didn't have that moment where I thought this could go wrong. You know who did? Friday, apparently, Scott Zolak picked the Commanders.
Yeah, he was
Really?
big on Jaden Daniels. He was very big on Jaden Daniels. He said to me, I think you guys are in trouble. I said, you're out of your mind. But he was true. It was true. Can I tell you one thing that my son was very impressed with me by?
Sure.
My son actually was like, wow. Get on the elevator. It's very late at night. So this is a casino, right? So it's not a casino this is not a high class place. It's a nice hotel. It's a fine hotel.
Okay, so the Hollywood Greektown Casino, you walk in, and the lobby is cool. It's kind of hip. It's nice. It's clean. I went up to the room. Like, it's great. Nice room. Cool. Nice view of the city. Great. Walk over to the casino, and the second you walk in the casino, it smells like an ashtray.
Yeah.
There's so much smoking going on, which you don't get at Encore. You don't even get it like at Mohegan and Fox.
No,
There's
you
not that much
don't get it.
smoking anymore.
My friend Jay
No.
said that you can't smoke at the other casinos. So the
that's
Greektown
why.
Casino is like the one. Because when you're going to like cash tickets in, and I've been the guy, but like at 10 in the morning and there's people playing video poker, smoking and drinking like straight bourbon.
Oh.
You're like, ugh. But anyway, so we're on this elevator. So people are like pretty wasted on the elevators is my point. So we're on this elevator and there's these 4 black chicks and they're going, and they're like, real loud. And then one of the black chicks goes, oh, you coochie head. And I went, ooh. I go, let me guess which one of you girls is coochie head. And they went, ah! And I'm like, I love it. They're like, oh, ah! And they're like all over me. And I'm like, I'm thinking you because I love that jacket. I think that's a coochie jacket. I think you show me the coochie jacket.
There you go.
And they're like, ah! And they're like having a hard time. They're like, where are you staying? Where are you staying? Where you live? And da 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 da. And I'm like, we have a great time. It's a tall building, like 30 floors. So this is like we're waiting for the elevator. Then we're in the elevator. We're having a great time. And we get out, and my son goes like, how'd you do that? He was so impressed because there was 4 very loud, very intoxicated black women.
Riz Toucher, nice job.
And my son was like, I swear to God, my son, he's 16. He doesn't care about me. He goes, Jesus Christ. He goes, how'd you do that? Because he goes, everyone else in the elevator was mortified.
Yeah, isn't that so?
And you were so comfortable. And so charming.
This reminds me of when Calvin and I were in Vegas 2 summers ago, and you're encountering like street people and hustlers and stuff like that. And I handled a couple of them a couple of different ways. I was really nice to one of them and kind of engaged him. And then there was another girl that was trying to it's kind of like an Andrew Dice Clay thing. She came up and her pitch was like, are you ready for the picture? Are you ready for the picture?
With the face?
With the face.
With the face?
Except she wasn't like an older Jewish New York man. She was, like one of them
junkies.
Eastern Bloc junkie prostitute. and she was like a little aggressive and came up to me and my son. I'm like, no. And then she like pestered us a little bit. And I think I said, no, F off away from us. And he was like, oh, wow. And he's kind of looked me wide-eyed. It's like, how is it okay to talk to people like that sometimes? I'm like, sometimes when they get up in your business, you got to tell them to F off. You just have to you have to do that. But other people, when you engage them, I can see Milo being blown away by that because a 16-year-old boy is like constantly teetering on dying of embarrassment. It's going to happen at some point. Is this going to be the moment? But not only were you not embarrassing, you like made the situation even better.
Well, the thing is that he lives in Newton. So, like, how often does he see, like, loud, intoxicated people together? And then he's there's not, I don't think he's around a lot of adult black chicks. And just, he was just so impressed.
Right.
He couldn't stop talking about it.
But
he goes, I think you could have banged one of them. He did. He goes, I think you could have banged one of them. I said, you know what? I said, let's go see. Let's go find him and see if I can bang one of them.
I'll let you watch.
Come in here, boy.
Let the boy learn.
Let the boy learn the way my father taught me.
But we don't have to recap the game, really. You saw the videos. You saw that we had great seats. The seats were fantastic.
I'll tell you, those videos. Has anyone given you a attaboy on those videos? Because those things, they got 60,000 views.
Yeah, they did really well. I'm going to put them all on in a post today over at
we get credit for them on 98.5 The Sports Hubs. Are they on the 98.5 The Sports Hub Instagram?
Nick says they are, but they're also going to be on the website. I'm going to collect them all.
Do we get credit for that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, very good. Because Hardy was the one who recorded them, and then we were collaborators on them.
That's right.
And we didn't really do anything, but holy moly, was that hot stuff.
I had a whole thing planned where I was going to do this, like edited storyline thing of all this stuff. I'm like, you know what? I don't know.
Sometimes just let it rip.
Just let it rip.
But Hardy ended up leaving Sunday. He left a day early.
Yeah, it was all done.
Yeah, he couldn't take it anymore.
So was that when your flight was out? He was like, I'm effing done with this. I'm leaving.
No, he changed his flight, and he was like, I'm worried about the snow. This was before the game. He was even thinking about leaving.
I was worried about the snow for good reason. Had I not been back to handle things as it happened on Sunday, it would have been a disaster.
Right. Why? Why would it have been a disaster?
Because he needs to get out there and shovel. You'll find out.
People would have been driving on my driveway and packing down the snow before I had a chance to remove it.
And then what is his family supposed to do?
Yeah.
But
none of them are capable. I understand.
But if you heard Hardy on Felger and Maz yesterday, you talked about how you were what? How did you describe it, Hardy? And you described it in one of the videos the same way.
I'm mad that I'm mad that I'm not more mad. I'm sad that I'm not that sad.
Yep.
I've come to complete acceptance that it's just not only was it not going to happen this year, now it's not going to happen. No matter what Dan Campbell says, no, the window is now closed. Not for the reasons that he thinks or maybe even you think. I have other reasons why I think the window is closed.
And I'll tell you this, is that talking to people, on Sunday and Monday around Detroit, I don't think anyone's overly upset anymore about Ben Johnson. And now I haven't heard anything because I haven't been there since he took the Chicago job. Oh, boy, are people going to hate him. Oh, are they going to hate him there? When Chicago comes to town, look out. That crowd is going to hate him because he effed around in that game. I heard you talking to Felger Mez to kind of put you on the spot about like what was going on. I'll tell you what went on. Ben Johnson was putting out some kind of like sizzle reel.
He got really cute.
To St. Brown, now to Williams, who wants to throw down the right sideline, and the pass is intercepted.
How about not having him? How about not putting him in that situation?
No reason.
How about you're picking up legitimately? Gibbs was picking up 10 yards a carry. How about just give him the ball?
I know.
You're marching up and down the field. You don't even have to throw.
I was watching first. That was a first guest by me sitting in my living room. I can only imagine what it was like if you were there. That was ridiculous.
It was everything they did because he got, you know why? Because when Goff was in the concussion protocol and Bridgewater was in, they ran that reverse and he got, which is one thing. Another thing is a double reverse throwing out of it with a guy with half a brain. What do you want Jameson Williams to do? To like eat it and like throw it out of bounds? He's not going to do that. That's not on him. That's on Ben Johnson. Anyway, all right. Fluto's going to join us. Fluto Shinzawa, a lot to talk about with the Bruins. There really is, because they might have to change course from what they've been doing over the last several years. All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
with you so you can hear more of Toucher and Hardy
That's what I want on my tombstone.
on the Sports Hub.
Obviously, it's nice, but it doesn't change anything for me. I just focus on doing my job, and Coiler obviously came big for us today, and tied the game and got the go-ahead goal. Heck of a game, big win for our group. Got a good support from the fans. It was great win. Keep focusing. Every game is important for us. So moving forward, and that's important is to recognize that. So we have to keep going.
I'm guessing that is David Pastrnak, if I could be so bold.
Bingo.
Who's a member of the Woodland Country Club, along with Tuukka Rask. That is why I see him hanging out with other Bruins. I don't know where all these stories come from that they're not getting along, but what do I know? I don't pretend to be friends with the guy. You know what I am? I'm chums with Rask. Like when we see each other, we always say hello.
Oh, that's nice.
But you should see people follow him around at that club. Oh my God!
Like just being a bother.
I don't know if they're bothering him. He might like it, but it's just like everyone, it's like, dude,
in the clubhouse, he's like a magnet. Everyone just kind of gloms on.
I mean, there's like legitimately like a group of like I don't know. It's not the same 10 guys, just 10 people following him around.
Yeah.
And it's like he used to play goaltender for the Bruins. Is this exciting for you? Like over and over again, this exciting for you? So you know what I choose to do? I go the other way. I go like, hey, I save from a distance.
Earn the man's respect that way.
That's not the idea. The idea is that it's very annoying to me that they should be following me around. No, Fluto Shinzawa is the man. He writes, senior writer for The Athletic, and he's writing about the Bruins. Hello, Fluto. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
We're doing well. All right, so here's the deal. The Bruins are obviously, a borderline playoff team. It doesn't look like a whole lot's happening this year. And to be fair to the organization, this has been a very, very long stretch of success, at least regular season success. And if you look at a lot of other franchises, they've had huge peaks and valleys. They've had just valleys. I mean, you don't want to become like a Chicago. You don't want something like that happening. The Neely mentioned it. You've talked about it. 2 paths. Now, for years, they've gone to improve the team in the now at the trade deadline. Fluto, what do you think they should and what do you think they will do come the trade deadline?
Well, it would be foolish in terms of trying to improve this year's team just because, what is this, 48 games now? That's a healthy sample size to determine what you are. And what you are is, okay, maybe you sneak in to the playoffs because it's going to be a dogfight either way. Every point, every game will matter. But even if you do get in, realistically, are you going to be playing into June? No. You're just not, because there's too many levels of underperformance on the roster that are not going to get you into June based on what you have. What you have are 3 legitimate foundational players in terms of David Pastrnak, Jeremy Swayman, and when he's healthy, Charlie McAvoy. And a lot of teams would like to have those players at those positions as their foundation. But around that, you start with what they thought would be a number 1 center, and he's playing number 3 center yesterday against a team in a complete rebuild, San Jose, and Elias Lindholm. You can start right there, and that's a glaring red light issue. So to be looking at this as a cup contender, it's just not reality. So it's very clear. And yes, 8 straight years into the playoffs. And again, those 3 foundational players. But to be reinforcing this year's team, not going to happen. You have to rebuild for the future.
Okay, so at the beginning of the year, Fred talked about how defensively and just the way the team was built, it could be a team that does not have the same regular season success, but could be built for the playoffs in terms of their size.
Yep.
We've seen the defense struggle enough now, and I'm not picking on Fred by asking you this, Fluto, but is there is there anything wrong with I guess that blueprint, or what went wrong in terms of the way the team was constructed? Because I believe he was right. They were thinking about building it that way. What did not come to fruition where this team is good enough in the regular season to make the playoffs, but they just can't? They don't have that playoff thing about them, either in the physicality or the defense, that will make them a contender to make a deep run.
Well, it's just too risky the way that they play. Like, look at those, especially if you really focus in on that three game segment. Florida, Tampa Bay, and the third game is escaping me, but clearly outshot, and just so many chances in the defensive zone that they were allowing, and grade A chances right in the middle, right in front of Jeremy. It's just the guy, he can't stop everything, even though he looks like he's really locked in and being that ace again. Just the puck movement is not good enough. The retrievals, I think you have to look at defensively, you have to look at the foot speed in terms of getting to those pucks in the defensive zone and then being sharp enough to move it out quickly and then get going the other way. And of course, that's an issue for the forwards too, that they have to be better at coming back and being available, helping out your Ds, especially your centers. And again, that's an issue that I think people thought would be a liability in terms of not being strong enough up the middle, but it's really been an issue now that you're not getting what you thought you would get in Lindholm. And then Coyle is playing right wing now too. So the center position has to be addressed. That's a hard ask, especially at the deadline. That's more of a July 1 issue. And then the defense, it has to be quicker. It has to be sharper. It has to be cleaner. There absolutely, that was the thinking going into the playoffs. Big, strong, physical, tough, and you certainly have that in Zadorov, Carlo, and McAvoy. Who knows how long he's been injured, because he hasn't been McAvoy like we've seen for a long time. So who knows how long he's been dealing with that issue, because he just hasn't been himself. And you're paying him to be number one, and it hasn't been good enough.
Fluta, I'm wondering what you think about the leadership of this team. Brad Marchand got into it with one head coach on the bench, and then he got benched by his replacement over the weekend for overtime against Ottawa. He hasn't been himself either. I think he's a minus, a plus-minus. I think he's a minus for the season. I can't remember a captain that was a minus for a season. I'm wondering what you think about his captaincy for this team.
I think it's been all right. I think that's just a natural byproduct of the team not being where it traditionally is. I think he's been fine. I think the issue will be, because I think you have to consider it. Okay, is this a tradable captain in terms of trying to accelerate this retool? If you trade Brad, can you get back a high-end future, a first-round pick, a prospect? Perhaps. But would they consider it? Considering what that would do in terms of the leadership around him. Like, is Pastrnak ready to be the captain? Is McAvoy ready to be the captain at this point? Probably not. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one for management to really answer. And maybe they don't have to answer it until they get closer to the trade deadline to have an even sharper picture of what they will be and what Brad will be in the next 2 or 3 years. But in terms of just focusing on his leadership, no issues there.
Okay. I was out of town. Do we know why Brad didn't play in that overtime?
Go ahead, Fluto.
Go ahead. I just, in case anyone is as stupid as me and doesn't know.
Yeah, coaching decision, and to be as loose as Brad was at the end of the third period in regulation with the goalie pulled, and then to see Ottawa score 2 there, it wasn't good enough. He was having a tough game. There were a bunch of players that were having tough games, especially in the third period. So. It happens. He wasn't happy about it. Coach wasn't happy about it. They deal with it. They talk about it. They move on. So it happens, right? We saw Pastrnak get benched for an entire period earlier this season, and he's your best player.
But it's different if it's a captain. It just is. It's different.
Well,
go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, it could set the tone for the rest of the guys, saying, okay, if the coach is going to do this to the captain, the only guy that's won a championship, well, this could happen to me if I don't shape up and clean up in the defensive zone. So that's that. I'm sure Joe was partly thinking about that too. Like, you got to hold everybody accountable, including the captain.
Okay, so let's all agree that. And by the way, when I thought that they were going to have success in the playoffs because they built the team this way, or that's what they were going for, I assumed they'd make the playoffs. Things have turned. So what did I know about Elias Lindholm? But now I know he's not good.
Well, he wasn't good last year, and they gave him a lot of money.
So anyway, when we look at this, Fluto, who do you see having value? You talk about the cornerstones of the organization that they're not going to move. You mentioned 3 guys that they won't move. Beyond that, who holds value, do you think, that they could get something actually worthwhile for?
Oh, you look at the pending unrestricted guys. That's Marchand and Frederick. The latter, it really looks like that's going to be in play in terms of Trent. Obviously, no traction in terms of negotiation, and if you're if you're a Tampa or a Florida, like, how good would he look in Florida on a third line, just kicking everybody's butt like the rest of that team? Like, there'd be a line out the door in terms of teams that would want him as a third line complementary player, with a possibility to re-sign. So if you can get a second-round pick, first-round, I don't know about first-round pick if he's going to get you that, but that's currency. The Marchand issue, they have to look at that. Beyond that, in terms of players with term, you look at Charlie Coyle. That's kind of a second-line, third-line player that teams would like. Center, right wing, PK, face-off. Yeah, that's attractive. Brandon Carlo, Pavel Zacha, Morgan Geekie. But Geekie looks like he's sticking in terms of he's playing out of position, left side. But that's your one line right now, him, Zacha, and Pastrnak, that the coach can depend upon to give you something credible offensively on every shift. So, and he's still young. He's restricted after this year. So that looks like there's some value there in terms of retention. So players with term, Carlo, Zacha, Coyle. Those are your 3.
Awesome. All right, Fluto, great information as always. Read them in The Athletic. We always appreciate the time.
Okay, guys. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. As Hardy has told you earlier, he bravely came back early from Detroit to tackle a problem, and he also hit the streets to help out others. We will have that for you in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics blew out Golden State out in San Francisco yesterday.
Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice. It just keeps going and going.
Thank goodness. Because when we woke up on Monday morning, we saw that fresh snow had blanketed the region.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just there waiting to be dealt with. And it also gave me the opportunity to kind of spend some time out in the neighborhood and ask the question.
So we all know that Hardy likes to, put his hands behind his back and kick rocks around construction sites, just watching the fellas do their thing. We know for a fact, not making it up on the air, that he has annoyed HVAC guy in his house by looking over his shoulder too much. Hardy, for my birthday, had his UPS guy wish me happy birthday, which was very nice. So he knows these guys. He puts his dog out deliberately so the people will stop, the garbage guys will stop so we can talk to him. But this is a big thing. Now, Hardy, when he used to fill in on the mornings, he would fill in with me. That's what he would fill in.
Yes.
But he would fill in to work with me. And the two of us would have a great time, and he would always come with bits. But this one was especially because I could tell he wasn't doing it so much for the radio as he was doing it out of love.
Doing it for myself. And let's face it, yesterday when I got out there with my own shovel to start with, and that's what I started with the Blazer 2 with the steel core handle, ergonomic handle, steel core down the shaft. You understand, John?
Now,
sharpened edge.
Is that a handle that has a kink in it, or is it a straight handle?
No kink. Straight handle.
That can be controversial.
But kind of hooped at the back so you can get a little push going with it.
Of course.
And the blower came out later for the end of the driveway, where I did not have a 5-foot wall of ice, but I did have.
That's your good fortune.
I did have.
As you are in a cul-de-sac.
I did have a plow buildup to deal with at the end. I'm like, the blower would be good for that.
Sure.
And the end of the driveway, but I was pretty much done a little too early, so I started venturing outside of my own driveway.
As is your want.
Yeah.
This is my want. I'm looking at the mailbox. I'm like, Stevie's not going to be able to get close. He's going to have to lean way out of the mail truck in order to get the mail in. Based on where the plow pushed that up, there's probably 1.5 feet, between the curb and where the snow was. So I start clearing the snow along the side of the street. And I estimated for Blondie when I got done, because she asked me what exactly I was doing out there, snow blowing both sides of the street. I said, I just cleared up literally thousands of square feet of road space for all of us here on the street. So you're welcome, number one. But another guy came by, not with a snowblower, Fred. He had a whole situation going on.
Oh, boy. So he came by.
Also out on the street, and I'm up kind of near the top of the street. I'm actually closer to the main road.
Yeah. Now you're like getting into municipal territory.
Yeah. But
we're treading on other people's turf.
We kind of see each other. I shut my machine down. His is still running.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, do you mind if we use this for the radio?
Sure.
Okay. What's your name?
Roger.
Just finishing up the driveway here.
Dude, you could eat off that thing. It's so clean.
Thank you. But
you could see my driveway from where we were, and it was glistening in the sun. It was black, jet black. Not so much as a flake of snow on that thing.
I think that I think that Roger might know you, and Roger knows how to win you over right away.
We know each other a little bit, sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, that Dale Carnegie stuff. Find out what they are passionate about and let them know.
Both of us are winning friends and influencing each other.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm glad that you got it down, because Hardy was concerned if he didn't get back in time, all the snow would get packed down.
Correct.
Normally we'd call what you're shoveling with. You're not shoveling. Wow, you got a whole situation going here. What are we plowing with?
I got this sweet rig. It's a 2001 ATV that I fixed up, and I got the plow in the front. But yeah, it does the job.
Jesus.
All right, so this guy has used an.
You're jealous as hell, I'm imagining. Wow.
This guy is taking an all-terrain vehicle, which obviously in Canton, where else would you use an ATV except in a suburban Boston neighborhood?
Sure, it's like a golf cart down in Florida. Just take the ATV anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And all that wooded area and all the places and all the desert and stuff that you could use it in. But he's put a plow on it, so he's made like a cosplay plow. Like he's pretending. It's Halloween and he's pretending to be a plow driver.
Aren't they all pretending, Fred? Aren't all of them pretending in one way or another?
I mean, just it's funny to me. He's like my little tyke flower.
Sure.
Like I wondered, was his kid on? Like, yeah, seriously.
Cosplay indicates that he's somehow pretending. This is no pretender.
I think he is.
He's not a pretender.
You are. I think you all are.
No, he is not pretending.
Okay, let's
he's
hear
actually
it.
plowing.
All right. No, I don't doubt he's plowing. I'm just saying that there's a big plow truck, then you buy like your little toy plow truck, like to pretend.
Well, since I can't purchase the big rig that the city has.
That is fair.
That's fair.
Like if you get a go-kart.
That's fair.
Like if you get a go-kart, it's like a pretend car.
Pretend car.
You look at that massive truck that goes by, so, man, I'd love to drive.
Yeah, but
one
I don't
of
want to
those.
spend 50
But yeah,
grand
I can't spend
on a
50, 100 grand. I got to
50.
do it my own way.
All right,
Every time you open your mouth, you show your ignorance.
Listen, I've never ever tried to argue with you on your information here. I don't know anything about it. I am not a man.
Get a load of this guy.
I know.
50.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. But for the show, I put it on the line and expressed my ignorance.
So this is a Polaris. It looks like the 500 Sportsman, so it's a four-wheeler. But that plow on the front, man, that's aftermarket. Obviously, you didn't pick this thing up like that.
Yeah, this is like 500cc all-wheel drive. The plow, yeah, I think it's like a 32-inch. But yeah, it pushes snow great. I mean, snow over the front. No problem.
Well, I see you out on the street here. You see I kind of did, down my street here, but looks like you do a little extra, too.
Yeah, same. Actually, so I do the stuff in front of my house, but also all the way down the sidewalk because the guy always pushes the snow up in my yard. So
he's a loser, too.
How dare you? Don't play that here.
Hey, the Polaris Sportsman's like a $4,500 vehicle, $5,000 vehicle.
Yeah, it's that. Or how much would a big pickup plow truck cost you?
I mean, the truck alone is going to cost you $60, and then to get the right plow and everything outfitted on the front of it, I'm probably talking another $10, $15.
Yeah, so it's like 10% of what you would pay for a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, like a mini bike is like 10% of a motorcycle.
It's kind of like a fan going to the game. Said, I could be this athlete, and he wears his uniform,
So, yeah, sort of. Or, a better example of that, John, would be if you see Michael Jordan wearing Jordans and you bought just kangaroo high tops. That would be like the thing.
Got it.
They do a great job.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not talking any smack about the plow drivers.
Sure, sure.
You're venturing on now.
He said he said that they push a lot of stuff up where he doesn't want it. So he gets out there with the Polaris plow to clear it off. I'm firmly on record. The plow drivers do a great job.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a plow driver, or is it just a municipal situation where it's a grab bag?
It's a municipal situation. I don't know who it is, and it pains me that I can't tell you his name or who was on our street.
Why don't you just let the dog out and see if he, you dangle that carrot?
I think of them as like the carpet bombers, and then we come in as the infantrymen, and we kind of clean up.
Like the Finnish carpenter, essentially.
Finnish carpenter, soldier, same thing.
We're framing the house, but I'm finishing it,
Beautiful. Well, hey, good luck to you today. Have fun. I mean, it looks like a blast.
Thanks, man. You too.
Take it for a ride, maybe a plow.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I got to go because I got to finish my own driveway.
That's all right. All right. No, I was kidding. All right. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Later, dude.
I'm sorry, Hardy.
You live in the right neighborhood. I'll tell you that. Jerry-rigged plows. You live in the right neighborhood.
What a machine. What an absolute machine that thing is, though.
Yeah.
You're not lying, though, because there was some buildup on the edge of the road and on the sidewalk there.
Yeah,
and
you got to get rid of that.
The snow that does come over the plow, it's like, oh, how's that going to impact the ride? It's not.
I know we're real late, but I just have to ask you this. If you saw that someone had hired a plow truck for their driveway, would you think less of them, like in your neighborhood?
Yeah, there are, let's see, 4 people on my street that have a plow truck come by, and I do think less of them. Absolutely. Yeah.
Weaklings.
Yeah.
Not real men. You know what I do? Because now that I have the Bronco, nothing. I just let it until it melts. I don't need it. This Bronco go through 3 feet of ice. I'm fairly confident I can get over that. Or just bust through it. There you go. All right, listen. Thank you, Hardy, because that bit was called.
Oh.
All right. Andrew Callahan will join us in just one moment.
Studios. This is Boston's home for sports. Your home for every Patriots game.
It's going to look different, and it's going to smell different.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics began their 4-game West Coast road trip by handing Golden State their worst home loss in 4 decades, 125-85. Jason Tatum scored 22 points.
Yeah, I think just our attention to detail to start the game on the defensive end, and then just our physicality. Joe said at halftime, he just felt like we was locked in, and our physicality kind of dominated the game. Our offensive rebounded, and then, the game opened up and started hitting shots.
Steph Curry had 18 points to lead the Warriors. This was a 45-point game at one point in the fourth quarter. Next up for the Green, a 2-game stay in Los Angeles, starting with the Clippers tomorrow night. At TD Garden yesterday, the Bruins are down 3-2 to San Jose entering the third period. They scored 4 straight goals and beat the Sharks 6-3. Charlie Coyle 2 goals during the rally. Bruins are now tied with Ottawa for the 2 wild card spots in the Eastern Conference, 1 point ahead of Columbus. They visit New Jersey tomorrow night. Brand new Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel has been busy. He's brought back special teams coach Jeremy Springer, reportedly hired former Tennessee assistant turned Rams assistant John Streicher, and Red Sox director of baseball analytics Joe McDonald has joined the franchise as well. ESPN reports he has requested permission to speak to Miami's outside linebackers coach Brian Crow about becoming his defensive coordinator. The Chicago Bears have hired Detroit offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn will have an in-person meeting with the Jets today. And Ohio State is your college football national champions. They beat Notre Dame last night 34-23 in Atlanta. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Avidia Bank, the Metro West's best bank. Work with a community bank that goes above and beyond for their customers and their community. Honest to goodness. Member FDIC, member DIF. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Some people play the game.
Jaylen Brown. Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's
it.
welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics show with Murray and Gasper, Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub. Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Andrew Callahan writes about the Patriots. He's a columnist for the Boston Herald. He's in studio with us. Just to add to John's report, the Jets are not only interviewing Aaron Glenn today, they're interviewing his very good friend Lance Newmark, who was the Commander's assistant GM, who Glenn was with in Detroit for 3 years, and the belief is that this is it.
Those 2 guys are their only 2 scheduled second interviews.
Yeah, so
this is it, and the plan is to not let Glenn leave, or either of them leave, and have it all done by the end of the day.
Yes, that is the plan, as predicted by many people, because Glenn apparently was telling everyone for whatever reason, and this is good enough for me, he wanted the Jet job because he played there, and he wanted above other jobs. So, God bless Aaron Glenn.
Was he your top pick?
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about who's going to be the best coach, but he was, and I'll tell you why. It's because they need a guy that played there. He was the most like Campbell out of the 2, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. He's the guy who can get at players, and the guy that can hold them accountable in a way that I think can make you a Tomlin type coach. We'll see. Go ahead.
One quick thing. There's been one thing in common with a lot of recent Jet head coaches. They were all defensive coordinators, and they had never been a head coach before. Guys just
Saleh.
Even Rex Ryan. I mean,
Rex Ryan was a good head coach for a long time.
Todd Bowles. I mean, they're all defensive coordinators that have never been a head coach before. And this is just the latest in a long line of that.
The difference is that he played for the Jets, and that I think that this is trying to establish a culture in the organization, like a lineage in the organization, right? We're bringing a star player back. He wants to be here. This is the job he wants. When you're a joke as an organization, that's kind of a big deal. And the Jets have no tradition. All the old players that played for him crap on the team. Namath just runs around crapping on him everywhere he goes. Not because he hates the team, but because they suck. So, it's not like Curtis Martin's hanging around. Like, at least when you go to a Lions games, they've hired Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, who both were disgruntled when they left. They've just hired them to come back and hang out at games. They get announced at every game. Not an impressive list, by the way, of players at the beginning of the game that they announced. They had Charlie Batch.
Yeah.
And then two other guys they brought out as the luminaries.
Charlie Batch.
But,
How many people are you calling before you get to Charlie Batch?
A lot. But Charlie Batch went to Eastern Michigan, in fairness. But
50.
But Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders are at every game. They bring them out at one point during every game. And you didn't see this on TV, but the Ball brother that's not good at basketball, LiAngelo rapped.
Oh, so you got the full experience.
There was a 2-minute break in the action, and LaMelo, quote unquote, rapped for a minute and a half of it.
Yeah, he just went down into the end zone and had a mic, which I think was live because he did say something after the rap, but he was obviously just kind of like going along, and the mic is way far away from him. It was, all right.
So there you go. So
it was weird.
Ben Johnson, now we know, is with the Bears, which will make him a fan favorite in Detroit. And then Aaron Glenn probably go to the Jets. And if they screw this up, anyone they get is not their first choice. So they really, this is almost a Vrabel-like situation for them. They kind of got to get this done today, or else it's going to look real bad. Like, they're not going to be able to pretend Arthur Smith was their second choice, which I think he is, which should tell you where they're at.
You know what I want from the next Jets head coach, if it's Aaron Glenn or not? Just a little bit of salt. Can I get some seasoning in this Jets-Pats rivalry? Like, I was quietly pulling very hard for Rex Ryan to come swaggering back into my life, and him and Mike Vrabel just spitfire back and forth in the press conferences. Like, I don't even need the winning and losing to go back and forth. Just the press conference, just the coaches, a little healthy hate here.
Apparently, Glenn is not, Vrabel's a much larger individual, and Glenn was a corner, but apparently Glenn and Vrabel are not dissimilar. Like, they have a little bit of the same traits.
Good.
Glenn doesn't take any crap.
You see, and I think that might end up for giving you what you want more so than a Rex Ryan Vrabel thing, because that seems almost scripted. We're going to hate each other
like pro
because
wrestling.
We're supposed to hate each other. But Rex has been doing this long enough now, and I think I'm sure he wanted the job, but he also feels good about where he's at. Vrabel still has a lot to prove. And if Rex Ryan were to be in there, I think it would be some of that good-natured ribbing going on back and forth. I'd like to see some actual venom, some real dislike that is forged in an actual rivalry as opposed to just standing on principle.
It's a good point, too, because I think it's personal for them, right? Like, you played there. You are not just working for the Patriots. You're not working for the Jets. You are the Patriots. You are the Jets.
Yeah.
You were and you are again, trying to bring something back that you loved. Because even Aaron Glenn, did he go to that AFC Championship game when they played in Denver, 98?
Yes.
Like, he knows what it's like at the peak of the Jets, just like Vrabel does with the three Super Bowls. Like, this is what they're all about.
Yeah, and
okay,
that is very much the peak of the Jets AFC Championship games, because that is what they've achieved in my lifetime. Obviously, they've not been to a Super Bowl. They talk about Ben Johnson. He's got the Chicago job. Apparently, he's bringing in the interim coach from New Orleans in as a coordinator. I guess he was a very popular.
Who is he?
It's called an all-star cast. It's a big all-star cast. Some coaches have been retained in New England. Can you kind of take us through what's going on right now in terms of building the staff?
Sure. So Mike Vrabel is taking his time. I can't confirm the NFL Network report yesterday that Jeremy Springer is coming back for 2025, their best performing coordinator. I think it's fair to say, you go by PFF, DVOA, take your pick. Special teams are all right. Offensively, my understanding is they want to hire the OC first and then let him influence or do some of the hiring underneath him. Now, we only know of 2 interviews officially for that position. Marcus Brady reportedly on Friday, Chargers passing coordinator, before that with the Colts, and before him Thomas Brown a week ago on Tuesday. Those interviews, whether they're virtual or not, satisfy the Rooney Rule, which to me at first indicated, oh, hey, they're just rushing back into the arms of Josh McDaniels and giving him a big bro hug for the third time in a row. I don't know if that's the case here anymore. I don't know what Mike Vrabel would be waiting for here. It's been eerily quiet on this front. But what I'll add to that is that we also know he's obviously building out the defensive side of the staff. So with Mike Reese's report last night, Ryan Crowe is going to possibly come up from Miami after being at Ohio State and then Tennessee. Like, there's a lot here. I think he's taking his time and using the advantage of, I was the first guy hired. Okay, everyone else is a week behind me. Let me use that as opposed to rushing into more of these decisions. But we'll see. It's a big couple of days coming up in Foxborough.
Okay, it's a big couple of days. So there's a way that this. Are you at all? Should Patriots fans be at all concerned that it's obviously not going to come down to the 16th choice or whatever, like it did with Mayo, but
right.
But there could be some. Do people want to work with Vrabel? I guess is a way to put it.
Certainly more than Gerard Mayo.
Well, yeah.
Right, but, like, I think with Vrabel, you've got the resume speaks for itself. 54-45 record as a head coach in Tennessee. He's played. He's got a little bit of a network. If you don't know Mike, you probably know someone who does know Mike. Where do you go from there? And I think the reputation has to be positive because I'll say he's also been a bit reflective about the time in Tennessee where it kind of got out that he might be a pain in the ass to work with. Like, this is a sarcastic, biting guy who even gave Belichick more crap back in the early dynasty days than anybody else in that building. Like, locker room, front office, coaching staff, whatever. Now, he had that story in The Athletic we talked about before, kind of mollified some of those concerns, but he's also been reflective in the media. And we'll see. Maybe this is different week 5 if they're going to their next game and they're 0-4. But I think that growth has to appeal to people who might be like, I know he's smart, I know he's hardworking, I know he's good, but I don't want him as a boss. You might be having second thoughts and coming around.
Okay. So this is all filling out in the GM situation is filling out. What about all the reports that are happening inside the building? How much is the structure growing? There was some talk about bringing an what are they bringing, an analytics guy from baseball or something?
Well, Cleveland did it, and that's where Vrabel was last year. So
right.
he clearly fell in love with it.
So it sounds
they
like
did it in December, though, supposedly.
Oh, really? Okay. So they're building out.
The structure is changing.
Yeah, it's not as they're trying to make it less antiquated.
Right. And the way, this is going back a couple of weeks, but the story Doug Kyed and I co-authored for the Herald, the way we put it in the beginning of that story was some organizational rot. Like, things there had just gotten old, they had decayed, everyone else had moved past the Patriots. What they're doing now with the analytics department, and they've had a few analytics people in there before. He's not the first to break ground. This is not, Lewis and Clark going into Foxborough with a bunch of numbers in hand. They're building out their staffs, I think, what it is. Sports science, analytics, player development, like stuff where, hey, this is usually under the purview of coaches or GMs. No. You're a specialist. We're going to come to you to be the expert on those things. Patriots didn't have those experts. They had one guy who did everything, Bill Belichick. And obviously you're not replacing him, which they found out a little bit later than you would like. But that's what I'd say they're doing. It's not a whole overhaul. Like, Elliot Wolf is still near at the top of the front office, but underneath him, he's saying, we got to get more people in here.
Did you hear anything, or did you have second thoughts about using that phrase, organizational rot? Because we read it on the air that morning.
That stuck.
Oh, thank you.
That phrase stuck.
And referenced it a couple times after that. I mean, that's different than organizationally inept or organizationally stifled. Organizational rot, to me, that speaks to everybody, and maybe even the owner be like, what are we, rotten? Rotten to the core? That's kind of what you said.
I mean, Belichick left, and you still have people in the building who had been there. Okay, and let's make this not personal, but this is a very recent, tangible example. Robert Glazer was there for 18 years, right, rising up the ranks and having an impact lately on football operations. And whether this was Mike Vrabel's doing or not, within his arrival, 7-10 days, she's gone. And we've already talked about the lack of an analytics department, sports science, to be like, I don't care about that. The facilities themselves are behind the times. Like, the weight room was rated the worst in the entire NFL, okay? And that was something the Crafts have known about for 4 or 5 years. Like, I walk into that weight room and go, boy, I'm glad I might be able to go to Lifetime with Fred once in a while. Like, this is it's an unbelievable NFL weight room. So it's not just the personnel, how long they've been there. It's like the actual physical facility of just, you haven't bothered to update this. You know, like if instead gardens didn't just overgrow if you didn't tend to them, they just kind of withered and died. Like that, in a way, has been parts of the organization where other teams, successful teams, have flourished and watered themselves, and the Patriots haven't.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll be right back. More with our friend Andrew Callahan when we return. but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we're Hardy. Andrew Callahan's in the studio with us. Of course, he writes about the Patriots and other stuff for the Boston Herald. And I'm a little upset at Bird because he did not tell us that Everett's own Mike Borgonzi he took the Titans job.
Yeah.
Everett High's own has moved on to that.
Did you use our information for a column? The interview we did with Bird about Mike Borgonzi?
No, I don't think anyone went into detail about that with me.
Well, you could have. I mean, the podcast is here for a reason. You could have gone back and listened and maybe gleaned some material.
Yeah, it upset Zolak a lot because Zolak was in the car and he was dropping off his son at school and he heard that we were having an insider on about Borgonzi. And it turned out just to be this Bird who played football at Everett High.
That's right.
When Borgonzi was there.
Yep.
Were they friends?
No, Borgonzi was older, and he said that a bit of like a rule stickler, like a bit of like a guy that kind of like played by the rules, a bit of a hard on.
Something you could have used in your column.
I got time. We got a long off season ahead, fellas, so I might stash that for a rainy Sunday.
Yeah, you look it
Sunday
up. It's
notes.
all up on YouTube where
all right,
everything
good.
exists that we're doing. It's all up there. Yeah, so what is the schedule like now for you that things have calmed down?
It's a lot of working from home. It's a lot of text calls when you can make them. 2 podcasts a week still. Pat's Interference. Check it out. And then when you guys call, TV calls, but otherwise writing. We have a series actually in the paper this week, 5 off-season fixes, which is like big picture, broad strokes. It's a way to kind of dip your toe into the free agent draft waters. And so that's what we're doing now as we kind of gear up closer to the Combine, which will be a big week in February, and then obviously free agency. So it's just a lot of laying foundation, I'd say.
All right, there is this talk, and I don't know if how deep into the draft and free agency you've gotten, but that this
I would venture to guess.
Yeah,
but
Jackson Dart, you can see highlights of him where he looks good.
Let's say this.
I'll say that.
Top 2 quarterbacks go Cam Moore, Chitter Sanders, or Jackson or whomever. Third pick is Travis Hunter. Like I'd say most people expect here January 21st. And there are teams after that go, we weren't really sure what to do with Travis. We don't need a quarterback. What we do know is number 1 on our board with a bullet is Abdul Carter, that edge rusher from Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a guy that right now, and this leftover thoughts kind of column I had last week from the season, is like that's a guy I would take. And I watch more Penn State than most folks who used to cover the team, still have friends who do that. And he's a stud. He's a stud at a premium position. So if you're the Patriots, you might just say, hey, I'll take him. But if you get, it doesn't even have to be Godfather offer. I don't know, like, drunk uncle offer of like a little bit too much. And you say, yeah, I'll go back 4 to 8 spots. That's a guy I think teams could come up for.
If there was, but if there's a premium guy at a premium position, you would trade out just to get more?
Well, it depends on the offer then. Like if this is an offer where I'm only going back 4 spots and I can still get, let's say, just for example, and draft folks might go nuts. Will Campbell's an offensive lineman at LSU, considered can't miss. Oh, his arm's a little short. We have 3 months to deliberate this. But that's another premium position, left tackle. You have no one to play. And if he's a blue chip talent, you go, yeah, I'll move back 4 spots, theoretically, get this guy, and add another second-round pick. Sign me up.
That makes me nervous. That would make me nervous as a Patriot
The short
fan.
arms?
No, just the idea that there's the guy at a position and you're trading out at
I'd
that
stay
point.
put and get to pass
And by the
rush.
way, I am as this process moves along and we know how this goes, I am not positive Travis Hunter is the first wide receiver taken in this draft as time moves on.
That kid from Arizona, you think he'd be number 1?
Travis Hunter's not a big kid. Travis Hunter's a really good football player.
But what if you want to use him as a cornerback? I've read more than once that he's a cornerback and you use him for 20 snaps on offense.
Is he an elite corner? That's the thing, though. Is he an elite corner prospect?
That kid from Michigan might be better.
So, yeah, that's the thing.
Will Johnson.
Yeah.
Is that, and then there's some players on the board. You just mentioned the kid from Penn State. There's a defensive lineman from Michigan. There's the cornerback from Michigan. There's some other receivers. Like, I'm interested. Like, everyone's just been saying Travis Hunter is going to get taken because he's a Heisman Trophy winner and he plays both ways.
It sounds like you're talking yourself into a trade back. You're like, all these guys, if it is just 8 in this hypothetical, it's not bad. Mason Graham, Bull Johnson, McMillan at Arizona.
No, but But I'd be contradicting you because if you think this kid from Penn State that you've watched more than anyone else is going to be a stud in the NFL,
yes.
See,
anyone in this room or anyone listening, most likely, then if he's that good, then I don't want to screw around. I'll just take the known commodity.
But I get nervous talking about making any move that is going to give you more picks where you can get quote unquote football players. Guys where we're not exactly sure what they're going to do. You know, could he be a 20 snap on offense guy in addition to a second corner maybe? We're going to figure it out. You don't have the luxury of figuring it out. You don't have enough of your key positions filled with actual football players and actual position players to go out and get guys, Belichick style, and just play. Just go, the guy can play. I don't know how I'm going to use him. I'm going to use him. No, you need a left tackle. You need a pass rusher. You need a receiver without any of that ambiguity attached to it. That could come with either trading back or even staying put. I don't know what the answer is going to be based on what the draft board looks like, come draft day. But I'm going to feel a lot better if you decide Will Campbell can play the position, then you just stay and get him. If you can get him at 8 and you trade back in order to do so, fine. As long as you get that guy, you don't get too cute and start thinking about, we're not sure how we're going to use this guy yet, but he's pretty good. No, you can't do that right now.
I think Travis Hunter is the only one that falls into that category, but I think you'll probably have, as a lot of teams will, sects of your front office, like portions of the front office that go, I feel this way about him as a corner, I feel this way about him as a receiver, and a few that might go, why not play him both ways? I mean, hell, the guy played over 100 snaps in all of these games, 60-plus offense, 60-plus in defense. Let's roll those dice. To your point, I'm not messing around at 4. I'm not looking to go into the unknown.
Right.
Give me the guy who I know plays a position that really matters, played in a really good conference. He's really
Absolutely.
good. But this is why we have 3 months still to deliberate this. Not just us here, but them in the war room.
While we've been talking, I've looked at the CBS mock draft, and they have the Patriots taking Travis Hunter at 4 with the caveat that they could go McMillan. That McMillan during this process could be the thing. So isn't that interesting? And you know who's going ahead of Shedeur Sanders? Is Abdul Carter at number 2. So they have Cam Ward going 1, Carter going 2, Sanders going 3, and Hunter going 4. Mason Graham, the kid that we were talking about from Michigan, the interior lineman, going to Jacksonville at 5, and McMillan going 6th. And Will Campbell going to the Jets at 7.
Fred, will you be the brave one to say McMillan's first name? Because John and I skirted around it, scared. Wouldn't say it.
No, Tatoria? Tatora? I don't know.
Doesn't sound like a far out land that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, how do you pronounce it?
I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm not going to do it. I'll just admit it.
Ways.
I haven't said it because I don't know how. And I know if I try,
the real cool
it'll sound
people,
worse in a faraway land.
Yeah, the real cool people say
Tatawa. Tatawa.
Just say Tet.
I like how you use an accent for that too.
Tet McMillan. Yeah, Tet. That's his exact nickname. Yeah, Tet.
Yeah,
close though.
Yeah.
Right.
So
who's the punter the Patriots had? I insist on calling it Boyoketh instead of
Zoltan Mesko.
No.
From Michigan, Zoltan Mesko.
No, it was Bojorquez.
Bojorquez. Yeah.
Boyoketh. You had to do the TH sound on the Z at the end, like Ola Thobel. Boyoketh.
I see.
In the annals of weird Patriot history, Corey Bojorquez not playing in a single preseason game because Belichick wanted to hide him in 2018. Totally fair move. But then getting claimed off waivers anyway by Buffalo is like, oh, no, we'll take him. Is a footnote, but just stuff that you forget because of how much other stuff has happened that you go, really? Yeah. Corey Bojorquez, yes. Not once, not a snap in the preseason. Got plucked anyway.
Bird's being very honest. He said he found out about Berganzi right when we did, but he said he'll keep you posted on his brother Dave.
Oh,
if Dave Berganzi's going anywhere, so just
what?
Hold on to your horses. He's saying he's promising that.
Okay.
That is what he's doing.
Are we sure Nashville's the town for Mike Borgonzi if he's like a rule follower? Bit of a square here. If the scouting report still holds up from high school.
Listen, there's a huge evangelical Christian base. They'll love it. Phil, go ahead. Hello, Phil.
Can you hear me? Hi. I was thinking Andrew Callahan could use the next too close first. 2 quotes, 1 lie. You're making it hard for me. But also, I was sorry you caught me off guard. I was wondering if you had an opinion, who was the bigger choker, Sam Darnold or the Detroit Lions? Could you guys weigh that and see who was the biggest choker of the playoffs?
I have your answer. The entire NFC North. My God, to think that
It's true.
that division with the Packers as good as they looked, the Vikings and the Lions to not have one playoff win among them.
That's accurate.
I mean, that is horrible. But to answer your question, Sam Darnold is the answer.
Sam Darnold because
he choked twice.
And he hurt himself the most, and you could say the Lions were very banged up defensively, and Green Bay was incredibly banged up. But the reason the Lions lost that game was not their defense. It was coach. It was Goff and coaching. That was what it was.
And that's why, I was called into Felger and Maz yesterday when they were filling in for us, and Felger asked me, it's like, all right, after this loss, have you changed it all in the Lions? Is there anything that you were fully on board with before? And in that moment, it kind of dawned on me, and I said, I think I might be out on Jared Goff. I think I may have reached the point and an understanding where you look at the teams that make it until the final 8 or the last 4 and they're going to the conference championships. They're rarely, and this year the only one that you could point to is say maybe Jalen Hurts is playing like just an above average quarterback right now. But everybody else, it's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels playing out of his mind. And you can go year after year, you look around and say, what does it take to get you to that next level? Jared Goff is a really nice quarterback that has done very well for them over the last couple of years. But you put enough talent around him, enough good coaching, and you get to the end, is he going to go out there and be that X factor that wins you the game? And for the Lions, the X factor remains their running backs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dan Campbell, if you still believe in the coaching. And it's not the quarterback, and it has to be the quarterback if you want to reach that next level. You have to have something, if not great, approaching great. And I don't think that's Jared Goff anymore.
And you're not alone. The Ringer has got winners and losers from the divisional weekend, and it's non-mobile quarterbacks are losers.
And I know he went to his Super Bowl in which he put up, with his offense, 3 whole points.
Yeah, that's right.
So
you know what Jared
convince me that and I think the window is going to be closed anyway for the Lions now. I do not have a lot of faith in it, but I have even less faith that if they were to get there again, that Jared Goff at quarterback is going to propel them into another conference championship and into a Super Bowl.
A lot of Hooker should be the quarterback. You're not, again, around Detroit on Sunday, Hendon Hooker, a lot of Hendon Hooker talk.
You know what it is, though? Jared Goff is an Uber driver who would have a 5-star rating out in the country. But you drop him in Boston, and it goes down to a 4 because he doesn't know where to go. There's too much pressure. Things around him. The roads don't make sense. I got to merge. When he's got a clean pocket and he's working behind a perfect offensive line, 2018 Rams, 2024 Lions, great. Accurate as hell, will stand in there, take a hit, read the field, smart guy. But as soon as you muddy the pocket, as soon as someone's up his ass a little bit too close, tailgating him, pressuring him often enough, that's when he falls apart.
Even if he would have, even the way he played, they could have won that game if they just, I mean, you saw from the very beginning, Gibbs is the running back on every play. Unless he needs a rest, Gibbs is your running back.
Yep.
Is that Montgomery never goes in the game. Goal line anywhere, I'm not putting Montgomery in that game anymore. I could have told you that in the first quarter. And then how about don't screw around with double reverses? I know you got cute with Jameson Williams, but Bridgewater was in at quarterback. How about Gibbs was averaging, we looked it up during the game, 10 yards a carry. Just give Gibbs the ball.
When we looked it up at that point, Fred, it was like 14.8.
Yeah, and he had carried the ball like 10 times. Like he was having a Saquon Barkley-esque day. Like
we were sitting there.
That's not a good defense they were against.
Wasn't at the game. I felt the same way. I don't understand. Ben Johnson way overthought himself.
And the people of Detroit, not fans of Tom Brady in the way that game was called. Very bad, they thought. Well, we didn't hear him, but
he was. You know what? Let's hear Brady's reaction to that 12 men on the field call on the 4th and goal that the Commanders had, because apparently Brady had something to say about that. We can listen to it on the other side.
Yeah, your friend called it before Brady did, so we got that.
It's just one good moment. I'll say, neutral observer, listening, watching that game. It's a good moment for Tom. That was about it.
All right, well, we'll decide if
All
you're
right.
right when we listen to it in a few minutes.
All right, so we'll have that for you in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider. All right, we'll have that Brady audio if you're on the edge of your seats about how he called the 12 men on the field, Aaron Glenn's, the Jets' new coach's mistake.
Yeah, we don't feel as compelled to get to it because Andrew already said, oh, it's good. Like, okay, well, I guess we don't have to listen to it now with you here.
It's a bad teammate.
We'll listen to it later.
Bad move by me.
We'll listen to it later.
Look, man, you're just a rookie, man. We'll take you through. You need a Slater. Let John be your Slater, your AC Slater. At one point, you know, your competitor for Kelly, but at another point he settles and you get Kelly. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. All right. You know, one of the hardest I've ever laughed on this show is when someone talked about slatering, and it's when you sit on the toilet backwards and take a dump.
That was a caller. That was great.
It made me laugh so hard. There's two things, that and when I found out Robbie Roadsteamer had a MySpace page as the brother of La Bamba.
Oh, yeah, Brother Bob.
Brother Bob. Those two things, I could not stop laughing.
That he had as the headline, I won an art contest.
$500. What about me, Ma? All right.
It's great, mijo, with the baby coming in art lessons.
All right. Let's get to it. We have Kayla.
Andrew's got 2 stats, but he only has one no good stinking lie. Andrew's got 2 stats, but has only one line. Who will guess correctly?
In last week, Andrew gave me a Joe Milton jersey that the Patriots helped out with, and it's funny because it's still here. It's like on, like, so we can see it on YouTube. But my son, for whatever reason, is like, have you brought the Milton jersey home? Have you brought the Milton? What do you want a Joe Milton jersey for?
Huh?
It's not even to wear it. It's like to display it or something. It's weird. All right, but we've heard this opening. All right, get to it.
Let's do this. It takes 2 stats from the other night. And one might see you can get it right. It takes 2 stats from the other night. And one might see you can get it right.
By the way, Nick was at a furry convention over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
There was a big furry convention that Nick went out to, so we'll have audio from that coming up at some point. Andrew, all right, what do you got? He's got 2 things that are true and 1 that is false.
Yes, sir. NFL postseason edition. No more Patriots stats here. The one adjacent. Number 1, in 2 playoff games, Jaden Daniels has more wins than negative plays. In 2 playoff games, Jaden Daniels has more wins than negative plays.
A negative play is just any play that
Loss of
resulted in loss of a pass
By
or a sack.
anyone or him?
By him.
By him.
His plays that he accounted for, loss of yardage.
Okay, very good.
Number 2, the last time the AFC Championship game didn't feature Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, iMessage had yet to be invented. The last time the AFC Championship game didn't feature Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, iMessage hadn't been invented yet.
Wow. Okay.
Or did it? Number 3, in the regular season, Buffalo had as many wins over the Lions and Chiefs as the rest of the NFL combined. In the regular season, Buffalo had as many wins over the Lions and Chiefs as the rest of the NFL combined.
Okay.
All right. Oh, as always, very difficult. Who wants to go first?
Read the third one again.
The third one is a lie.
Well, what's the third one?
In the regular season, Buffalo had as many wins over the Lions and Chiefs as the rest of the NFL combined.
By the way, Hardy, I'm with you on this. I think that's true. I think what you said is true. Number 3 is a lie.
All right.
All right, I think number 3 is true.
Okay.
Well, okay. Here we go.
Oh, no. It's contagious. Fred, what did you give the Hardy?
The Bills beat the Lions and Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's 2 wins. How many losses did the Chiefs and Lions have combined?
3.
So that's a lie.
That's exactly my thought process. 3 is the lie. I'm with Hardy. So it's up to you, Fred. Do you agree with us or not?
Read it again.
Oh, no.
Come on. Come on now.
In the regular season,
Come on now.
Buffalo
Come on now, boy.
had as many wins over the Lions and the Chiefs as the rest of the NFL did combined.
Yes, because I'm going to guess that the Buffalo beat the Lions and the Chiefs, and the rest of the NFL, so only one other team beat the Chiefs. You guys are on record as saying that.
Damn it, we
I am going.
screwed it up.
We
screwed it up. That's true.
I am going number 1 is the lie. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Hardy, I think
We screwed it up. Yeah.
I stepped on Hardy's tease. He just spoiled the result here. You did get it wrong. You screwed up. Fred, my man, wins.
Yes, look at the man who understands everything now. Oh, that shows that how malleable neuroplasticity, my friend. You don't know what neuroplasticity is? The brain can change. The brain can form and learn and grow. Yes.
Let me hear you say hell yeah.
No, don't. I hate him.
So Jaden Daniels has 2 wins. How many negative plays does he have?
More than 2. He had a sack against the Buccaneers. He had a negative rush that you guys saw in Detroit. You want to count the kneel down, fine, but there were other negative plays. Loss of yardage. You could throw picks, fumbles in there. Doesn't matter. More negative plays than 2. The regular season, the Chiefs and Lions both lost 2 games. Half of those 4 losses came against Buffalo, which means the Bills beat the best teams in football as often as all 30 other teams in the league did, or 29 teams in the league did. That was the question.
Mm-hmm.
The last AFC Championship game where Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes did not play, January 2011. So after the 2010 season, your Jets in Pittsburgh losing to Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers.
Wow.
Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got 1 lie. But he's got 1 lie. Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got 1 lie. But he's got 1 lie. Woo! Come on, girl.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. I like that he used those.
By the way, Instagram invented just 6 months before that AFC Championship game.
I'll tell you what, the NFL's got a problem with Kansas City. The NFL has got a problem with Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because now Kansas City can't win that AFC Championship game. The NFL's, if I'm the NFL, I'm like, please, 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 Buffalo, because it's ridiculous. It's now I'm on board with this thing. I mean, like, for whatever reason, but it's a lot. Did you see the picture that I put in my story on Instagram? I didn't get it. It was John Worcester that did, but it's Andy Reid on his knees in front of one of the officials before the game. But you can't see, like, the official's back is to him. So it's
bad.
yeah, it looks like he's filleting him, which is possibly why these things keep happening for them. And there's got to be some conspiracy about Travis Kelce getting open. Because I might be as fast as Travis Kelce right now. And Travis Kelce is beating 24-year-old linebackers in slot corners in getting open. Which
I'll
is
tell you, he
fascinating.
looks faster than a golf cart. You do not, my friend.
You never see me run, Andrew. That's unfair. That's a lie. You can't say that. I will beat that golf cart. I will. I have to lose a little weight after this weekend, but we'll see what happens. All right, Andrew. Read him in the Herald. Thank you for coming in. When we come back, let's hear the Brady thing also. We'll talk about some things that are going on around the NFL as the coaching searches and things that could affect the Patriots get all locked up, we'll have that for you in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
The good.
for sports. Your home for every Patriots game.
It's going to look different, and it's going to smell different.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Leslie Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
A nice afternoon for both the Celtics and the Bruins on opposite coasts. In San Francisco, the Celtics blew out the Golden State Warriors 125-85. The bench pushed this lead as high as 45 in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum, 22 points. Celtics visit the LA Clippers tomorrow night. The Bruins scored 4 unanswered goals in the third period to beat San Jose 6-3 at TD Garden. David Pasternak's team was down after 2 periods, but not out.
Yeah, I mean, we stayed focused. We kept pushing. We got a big kill. We got a huge save from Corby, and that kept us in the game. And we were determined to win the game.
Charlie Coyle had back-to-back goals in the third to put his team ahead to stay. They visit New Jersey tomorrow night. As for the Patriots, Mike Vrabel continues to search for assistant coaches now that he is on the job. He has brought back special teams coach Jeremy Springer. He also has requested permission to speak to Miami outside linebackers coach Ryan Crow about becoming his defensive coordinator. The Chicago Bears have hired Detroit offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn will meet with the Jets today. And at the college football playoff national championship, Ohio State ran away to a 31-7 third quarter lead on their way to a 34-23 win over Notre Dame. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the $14.99 Big Deal Meals at the 99, like the chicken and sausage Al Forno, available every Monday through Wednesday for just $14.99. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. A finger roll is up and good. Score in the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Around the NFL with Toucher and Hardy.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Simply go to YouTube and search 98.5 The Sports Hub and subscribe, and then you will get this live show, Joe's live show, and clips from all the shows as they are compiled for your pleasure throughout the day. Any interview you may have missed, all those things are up there in easy to consume little tidbits. Just like all your favorite doctors that tell you exactly the amount of sleep to get. Anything a minute more or a minute less, you throw everything off. There's a perfect amount of time to nap. If you nap any more, you're screwed. If you nap any less, you're screwed. That's what they say. All right, Hardy, as we have discussed, Ben Johnson, who after a horrific performance in the divisional round, the next day takes the Bears job, apparently a job he was interested in as early as last offseason, but of course it was not made available. And so if I'm a Lion fan, I'm a little annoyed that Ben Johnson was already in place, obviously, to take that job before the game on Saturday. So maybe that's why he was terrible in his game prep and in what he did. And I would think that would be a ridiculous notion. And Dan Campbell gave the guys 3 days to handle all that, where there was no at the facility. He said, don't prepare for a team you're not playing. I'm going to give you this week until we know who we're playing. We're just going to do like walkthroughs. We're going to do like little things. Here are 3 full days to do what you got to do. And Ben Johnson, in those 3 days, got the Chicago job. And so much for all the reports that Tom Brady had convinced Ben Johnson to go to Las Vegas.
Apparently, he and Ben Johnson had one of those teams, video conference calls, and they talked for hours, according to the reports.
Well, I had
Brady
said
couldn't convince him.
I said on the air, I find it a little strange that why Tom Brady would be able to convince a guy who's been very, very, very particular about what job he was going to take, what Tom Brady would have to do with anything. They don't have a quarterback. They got a crappy owner. Why, with no cash, why would the presence of Tom Brady, he's going to be so impressed by an NFL quarterback I mean, the guy works in the NFL. It didn't make any sense to me.
The quarterback is the biggest part of it, obviously. I mean, you say what you want about Caleb Williams, but at least that's a guy who has potential and shows some physical skills regardless of how his season went.
And by the way, screw Ben Johnson for taking the interdivision job, too.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a dick move.
Well, they're very excited in Chicago, at least according to Pete Schrager earlier this morning.
It's a win for the Windy City, and this was the number one candidate to me. They look. You don't have to squint too hard.
It's a win for the Windy City. What's wrong with that? You don't believe you don't understand the wordplay going on there, Fred?
You stop running down those halls. I'll tell the principal.
It's a win for the Windy City.
It's a win for the Windy City, and this was the number one candidate to me. Look. You don't have to squint too hard when you see that every team is coveting this guy for 2-3 years, and he chooses the Chicago Bears. That's a win. The guy who said no thanks to jobs in the past and chose to not even interview with some teams this candidate process, I think that's a major win for him to say, I want the Bears.
Let's see how good that Bears team is in that division next year. We'll see. Let's see.
Yeah.
We'll see. A lot of people's reputations that are football experts, not guys that just talk about sports, but guys that are football experts.
The divisional consideration alone should have been enough to scare Ben Johnson away from that. You're going to have to go up against your former team. Probably going to feel a little bit of juice. Packers aren't going to suck. The Vikings aren't going to suck. You're going to have 3 good teams that you're going to have to face. Are you going to be good? Well, you got a quarterback, but
And by the way, they've all faced you twice a year for when you were the Lions offensive coordinator. So not only the Lions have institutional knowledge, the Green Bay and Minnesota also have played your offense twice a year.
Right.
So I want to see how good a head coach Ben Johnson is. If he's a great head coach, God bless every one of these guys. But if he's not, I'm holding them all accountable. Go ahead.
Going to coach the Raiders isn't any easier as far as the division is concerned either. They're a last-place team. Those 3 teams ahead of them were in the playoffs this year.
The idea that there's a worse job than the Raiders' job is ludicrous, including the Jets. It's a ludicrous notion. We went through the exercise of all the hundreds of coaches they've had over the last 10 years. Or 10 years, this century. Other than Gruden, everyone's a complete failure, and they just fire him and rehire and fire him.
But it's the Taj Mahal of football.
Oh, yeah, the facilities, Taj Mahal.
Yeah, because that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
That'd be like, hey, we're offering you a morning show. It's in New York City for $10 million. Okay. Yeah, we're offering you a show in Cleveland, but it's the last place station, but they got a beautiful studio. And the station in New York the studio is not as nice.
Yeah.
What do I care about what the facility is?
That's not fair, though, because then I think maybe I could help fix up the studio in New York. So that's an extra added incentive.
No, that's a union gig, and I don't think they
that's
would
right,
be.
New York.
If you ever saw the movie Saturday Night, you know that
that's right.
You can't get in the way of the union.
Can't lay them bricks. But then they did. Spoiler alert. All right.
I'm sure that actually happened.
Andrew Callahan said that Tom Brady's maybe one good moment of his year calling games happened on this play early in the 4th quarter in Detroit. Saturday night was a 4th and 2, I believe, for the Commanders. Right down on the goal line. Not quite a 4th and goal, but for all intents and purposes, it was. Commanders decide to go for it with a 3-point lead at the time.
Oh, no.
Now we got a penalty flag.
What are they doing?
12 players on defense with the offense in formation and the snap imminent. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. The yardage is enough for a first down.
Wow, you called it for 10 seconds.
I'm
Tom.
seeing him run out there, and you got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So I only heard this clip. I only heard the end of the clip before where it looked like it had just dawned on Brady, but it sounded like Brady knew it was happening as it was happening there at the very beginning. So, all right, credit to Brady.
And credit to the guy that was in front of us, the bald guy, that there was a group of Commanders fans behind us that were included 2 children and their mother. And he felt very emboldened whenever something happened good for the Lions to gesture to the little kids and like yell back at them.
There was a little. I mean, this kid was what, maybe 5, 6 years old.
There was a little girl and the only reason I know is because they're in the back of one of our videos. I didn't even look. I could hear.
Okay.
Is that there was a little girl and a little boy and their mom.
Right, and I mean, the kid.
They would chant defense. It was 3 people.
Right. It's a deadly quiet in there, as it is at most fields when the home team's on offense. The only thing you can hear is this little kid going, defense, defense.
Yeah.
The bald guy in front of us started chanting in unison with that kid, offense!
Oh,
Did you hear when he was told to shut up? Yeah. There were fans lower in the section that when he was doing that told him to shut up. Because not only was he being an idiot, because he had done the ocular pat down. He had seen that there was no one that it was any threat to him. This was no tough guy. And not only that, but he was yelling while the Lions had the ball like an idiot. Like when you're supposed to be quiet. Like the chant of the kids saying defense was so deafening.
Right.
That Goff was like, I can't there's nothing I can do out here. I can't change the play. These 3 people are chanting. It was really something. And we were looking for violence, my son and I. We really wanted to see a fight. It's too highfalutin in the crowd.
And there weren't enough Commanders fans there to really get into any trouble. How many would you guess out of the
1,200?
I was going to say 2,000 at the most. At the most.
And I think 1,200 might be too much of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
They all moved down behind the Commanders bench after the game.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of Lions fans left really early,
That's
which I can
surprising.
kind of tell.
Yeah. Did you guys stay till the end?
Yeah. I wasn't leaving. We paid a lot of money for those tickets, and we were walking.
And we were walking back. Yeah, there was no traffic to beat. So
Yeah, the only thing that we would have to beat is the people in the concourse, and I wasn't. You wait around for them to leave. You know my theory on leaving.
Yes.
I'd rather leave late than early because you get to then there's less traffic even in the building. I'll hang around.
Dan Campbell hung around, gave his post-game press conference. I have not heard this because, as you just said, we were there and hanging out.
And you weren't going to watch any
I wasn't going to watch any post-game once I got back.
It's hard, when you lose these games, man. It's like the players, what they put into it. A lot of people don't know, what they go through. You have to get up, bodies beat you, and, mentally stay locked in and do those things. So, long season.
Well, I know. I saw North Dallas 40. What do you think I don't know? You take an ice bath, have a couple brews.
Yeah.
Take some Vicodins.
I really got no problem with Campbell. I don't. I think sometimes he has to let it be known, though, to his next offensive coordinator, my aggressive attitude, it's okay to push back a little bit. I know I want to go for it on every 4th down. I know I want to, maybe try and run some trick plays. But, I mean, my God, that the one in particular.
They fake the toss, flip it to St. Brown, now to Williams, who wants to throw down the right sideline, and the pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Mike Sainristil at the 34-yard line.
Well, you can't stop Mike Sainristil. I mean, you knew he was going to make a big
intercepted.
play. Don't throw it Sainristil Island.
Yeah. All right.
He wanted to throw it to Gibbs, but he can't throw. So that's going to be a problem.
I got to do this exercise if they have play-by-play.
While you do that, I want to.
When did that happen in the game? What quarter?
That pick.
They scored a touchdown. Yeah, okay. Here it is. Okay, here's what happened.
It was in the 4th.
Okay, yeah. Here's what happened before that Jameson Williams thing. David Montgomery 5-yard carry. Then a Goff pass for 22 yards to get to the Detroit 46, and then Jameson Williams. They do the double reverse pass. And before that was a touchdown drive where Montgomery had 11 yards on a carry. Montgomery had an 8-yard carry. Montgomery then lost yards. Gibbs. I mean, they were picking up Goff to St. Brown for 19 yards.
Perfect time for a double.
Goff to
reverse
Gibbs
throwback.
for 11 yards. Montgomery.
Yeah.
I know. This is moving the ball, but let's try this.
I'm bored.
So Dan Campbell
Gibbs up the middle for a touchdown, 8-yard touchdown.
His next door offensive coordinator better be equipped to push back a little bit.
Okay. This leads me to
Well,
a question.
listen, Washington went for it on every fourth down. Did Washington punt in that game? If they did, it was once.
I remember remarking to you and Steve and Milo at the point, I'm like, oh, look at that. The Commanders are punting.
So let's say they punted once. Yeah, they punted once in the game. So good. So let's not go crazy about it being fourth downs. I mean, they only punted once in that game, and they only failed on one fourth down.
Yeah, actually, Detroit only punted once too. It was a great game to watch.
No, it was a great game.
Great game to watch.
It was a great game. I thought they were going to get that onside kick too. Go ahead.
All right, I have a question for Hardy. Now that it's over, and you said earlier in the show you think the window's closed, they're not coming back. This is it. That was their last best chance to win it all, go to the Super Bowl, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think Dan Campbell? Because Dan Campbell obviously is coming back as the head coach. What is Dan Campbell's biggest obstacle to get his team back to this point? Is it the fact that he's going to lose both coordinators, or is it his quarterback?
I think it's his quarterback, because I think they're still going to have a good season. I think they're easily a 10, 11 win team. They can do that, but they don't have enough to get them over the hump. Jared Goff is not going to be enough. It's just not. He's not good enough. You need to be either great or approaching great to excel at this point in the postseason.
Because I remember the Patriots lost both Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel the same year. Weiss was the offense coordinator, Crennel the defense. They were still competitive, obviously, with Brady, but it took them a long time to get back.
The defense is going to be healthier, and they're still going to have plenty of talent on offense. But unless you have a quarterback that can get you over the top in those key moments, then it doesn't matter.
Here's why Hardy is being too fatalistic. They'll trade Jamison Williams. They'll pick up picks for him. Then their offensive line is intact. They still have Gibbs. They still have St. Brown. They kept all those guys. They get Hutchinson back. They'll have 2 edge rushers, and then they'll draft well because Holmes is a great GM. They'll be a better team next year than they were this year. They'll be better. They'll be better. At least better. I don't know if they'll win as many games, but they'll be on paper. They'll start the season on paper a way better team than they ended the season just by being healthy. You have to remember, they've locked this core up. No one's going anywhere. So they have this core. They've the arguably first, second best offensive line in football. None of them are like particularly ancient. Their skill position players are young. I think they're going to trade Jamison Williams and they're going to pick up picks for him. And Holmes is a great general manager. I don't understand. Like, they nailed the Hutchinson pick, and he was the second edge rusher taken in that draft, if you'll recall.
Ultimately, though, that's my fear. They're on paper, they're better. They match what they did last year. Can you believe it? Another 15-2 season, and then you lose in the divisional round because you're playing a team with a quarterback that's got that extra something, and you don't have that.
Then play Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker was great at Tennessee. Hendon Hooker can run around. The only reason he was drafted when he was drafted is he was hurt. If some point during the season you want to transition to Hendon Hooker, then I don't think that's, Callahan shook his head and this and that. Hendon Hooker, good quarterback. They took him for a reason. They've kept him for a reason. No, he wasn't active for the game.
I was just going to say, how many games did he play in?
We'll see.
He's no Joe Milton, but he's good.
No, he won at Tennessee. There's a difference. Hendon Hooker had success at Tennessee when he played. All right, we'll be back with our world-famous email bit. I'm sure everyone's been chomping at the bit because we weren't here yesterday. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Touch.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. You can get in touch with us via our emails if you go to 985thesportshub.com. It has all that information. And also, you can follow us. Nicholas is working very hard, as Hardy and I worked very hard on our videos, which can be found at Toucher and Hardy on Instagram and, I guess, Twitter. And at Hardy985 on Instagram, and at Fred Toucher on Instagram. And for whatever reason, making those videos during the Lions game, which were no big, great shakes, caused a avalanche of followers. And now we are nearing 25,000 at Fred Toucher.
Really? How many followers? Ballpark.
Sensational.
How many?
I mean, if I have a good day today, at Fred Toucher, if you are good enough to follow me, then I hit the 25,000 mark, and now we're talking influencer status.
Well, you better give me something. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna get people to follow, if I were to follow you for the first time today, I better get some content out of it. I just don't want to scroll through your old posts.
What if I told you I'm a collaborator and I could put it up? Fluto Shinzawa talking.
Ooh.
Now we're cooking with gas.
Nice.
Nowhere else to find it.
Yeah, I mean, at Toucher and Hardy, but I mean, you could find it. I mean, you don't
original. I want original content.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll dance around again. I'll make my daughter do something like I did the last time.
Make her do it.
I'll make
That's
her
right.
do it. Right. All right. What do you guys got?
Apparently, they did some of the segments that people are familiar with with this show. Felger and Maz yesterday. They did Shooting the Breeze yesterday, apparently. And I have a couple of these. This one's from Chris. This is the angriest Shooting the Breeze segment ever. It's like when you were in grade school and the substitute teacher was an old, nasty woman. You just wanted the class to end.
Oh, it's funny because I got a bunch of emails, or not a bunch, but I got emails saying how much better they were than me and that I should go die.
Oh, Chris, there's one other thing from Chris. Sorry about the Lions, Hardy. You didn't deserve that.
No, but it's like golf, being a Lions fan is like being on the golf course. Lots of breaks, good and bad. Ones you deserve, ones you don't deserve. It's how you roll with it. Last year I rolled with it poorly. This season, I think I'm rolling with it much better.
It is night and day.
Well, I think that you were there helps.
I was there, and all joking aside, I had a very enjoyable weekend. So, speaking of Milo, I got an email here. Milo killed it. Thanks for sharing your suffering. As a 52-year-old New England sports fan, I learned long ago not to waste money on playoff games. Losses are too painful, and it's usually better on TV with the added bonus of prepaid drinks and no lines to pee. I was rooting for you and took the over. Well, bully for you for taking the over. That thing cashed way early.
How you cashed in, right? You placed your bet, your big bet?
Yeah, I put the ticket on Instagram. I mean, I said I was going to put $1,000 on the over. I put $1,000 on the over. I'm not a big gambler, so that was a lot of money to me. And there was never a doubt that was going to happen. I still had idiots yelling at me on those videos saying, and I'm glad you lost your bet. And I'm like, oh, there you go. There you go, high roller, Jimmy the Greek. It's called the over. It's not who wins the game is no matter. It's the amount of total points scored. I believe even my daughter knew that. I mean, if you're going to insult someone, at least get your insults right. And so, yes, I did hit the over, which, look, bottom line is I'm a Jet fan. My son knows this, too. He's a Jet fan. I love Detroit. I love going there. I love Ford Field. I was truly rooting for the Lions, but I cannot put myself in the same shoes as Hardy because it doesn't hurt me as much. I'm pissed the Lions aren't in the playoffs anymore, and I would have liked to see them go to the Super Bowl, but it doesn't have that indescribable pain. Now, because I watch every Jet game, even the Jet games that don't mean anything, even when I don't want to. Mm-hmm. There's something that Milo and I were talking about. I had a lot of time with Milo. Milo and I were talking about this because he now does it too. And we were trying to figure out why. Why, when there's nothing, they're not even playing for a pick. There's no good in winning. There's no good in losing. There's nothing, and it's hard to find on YouTube TV because it's buried.
Yeah.
And you got to search for it on YouTube. and I watch every game, and there's been years like in college and when I was in my 20s where I didn't. But ever since I've become a loser and like had kids and everything, I've watched every Jet game.
But I'd be the same way if I lived in a different city for the Patriots. I'd be the same way. But
it's just this. So the pain that Hardy feels, I would feel maybe tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
And I probably could have stuck around because part of me wanted to leave town because I didn't want to be part of the misery of the day after a loss.
There was none of that.
There's none of that, and for two reasons. Number one, you know what it's like around here when one of the teams suffers big loss. The entire mood of the town is just dark, and people are miserable, and everybody's pissed off. Not the case in Detroit.
Interesting.
Well, people are just nicer. I mean, you know, chat people up when you're checking into the hotel, and there's just
that's a foreign concept.
It's a Midwestern nice, and everyone's used to it. It's not like this was a big blow to what they were expecting. You know, it was a bunch of Lions fans, so
it's not like the Patriots fan base got. You know, when you have that like unprecedented run of success, I'd imagine it's a lot like the Patriots fan base, but they care. So it's a little bit different. The Patriots fan base from 30 years ago, but they care.
Yeah.
I would imagine there was a lot of apathy around here. And you didn't go to Corktown because on a Sunday where nothing's going on, downtown Greektown, you wouldn't run into anybody. Everyone lives in Corktown, so if you go to Corktown, you run into a lot of people. But that city was pretty empty on Martin Luther King weekend on a Sunday. Go ahead.
Vegas tips. Oh, this is from Cam. Hey, Hardy, flying to Vegas on Friday to see the Eagles. Any tips on what to do and what not to do?
Yeah, if you want to get the biggest suite at the nicest hotel, he's got a great tip for you. It never fails.
What is that, Fred?
No.
Well, you take your ID and your credit card.
I'm not doing that.
And you're handing it to the guy at the front desk.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to write this down.
So this guy's in Vegas, right? He's got billionaires coming in, betting $10,000 hands of blackjack. Okay?
Yeah.
But you come in there. But these guys probably, when they come in, they're checking in. They have no time for the front desk guys, so they're blowing them off.
Mm-hmm.
You put a $20 bill. You got one of them?
I do.
Well, if you don't, you go to the ATM. You get yourself a $20 bill.
Yeah.
You fold it up.
Yeah.
You put it in between your ID and your credit card, and you hand it to him. And the guy is so enamored. In Vegas, where there's no money being exchanged in cash, no one has any cash. The guy will see the $20. Then he'll find that it just so happens the best suite in the hotel is unoccupied.
Right.
And no one else that's any better than you that has, I don't know, betting a lot of money and has a history of doing it is eligible for that room, and they will immediately upgrade it.
I have a question. Is there that move sounds good. Is there a name for that move?
It's called a sandwich or something like that. I forget it.
Stop it.
Come on.
Stop.
You couldn't get a table at a Chinese restaurant for $20. As evidenced in the episode of Seinfeld.
Right.
When the guy just took it.
Cam, my tip would be going to Vegas on Friday to see the Eagles is skip the concert. Don't do that. Anytime you go to Vegas with plans of going to a concert, a game might be a little bit different because, you know, you're a fan and you're going with a group of people, but all plans should be soft. Dinner reservations, show reservations. You got to be real careful with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You might find yourself where you're just absolutely dreading having to get yourself up and out of the hotel to go to that show.
Before the age of 45, there was absolutely not a chance in hell if I went to Vegas that I was going to any of unless I could make a dinner. But if it's something where you have to like sit there like a game.
But if you've planned that dinner like 3 days ahead of time, even that's dangerous.
Right.
I'll meet you for dinner if we're making plans that day.
I mean, you're in a town where people are drinking at, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Like, it's very difficult to go, like, I'm going to go to a concert at 8 o'clock and sit and watch the Eagles. Now, if you're, I'm sober, but even, like, when I was, like, a little bit older, I could have probably done it. But like I said, like, when you guys went to Vegas, I don't even like Vegas that much. I don't like gambling that much. But, like, when you guys went to the Vegas game,
yep,
like, there's no way I'm going to want to go to that game. Go to the pool. Beautiful women all over the place.
And going to the pool in the wintertime.
No, but I'm talking about
weather
early
wasn't
fall.
great. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It was December, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was
weather-
December.
no,
all right,
weather-
my bad.
Weather wasn't very good.
My bad. I misspoke.
Matt emailed in, whoa, hold your horses there, you rascal. You spent all season saying the Vikings weren't that good, correctly, and that Darnold was playing over his head and that it would catch up with him. At the same time, you said the Lions weren't headed to the Super Bowl. Weren't headed to the Super Bowl. No one in the NFC was equipped to stop them. But somehow Darnold is the choker? That's a baker's dozen of malarkey, good sir. And I don't care how injured the defense was, 5 turnovers is a joke. I said good day, sir. That's from Matt. So that was
5 turnovers in that game?
I think it was I thought it was 5. I thought it was 4 picks and a fumble. And then I checked the box score again yesterday, and I think it was 3 picks and a fumble.
Fumble, interception at the end of the game. So really 2 picks and a fumble. The interception at the end of the game was, a desperation.
But I agree. The turnover margin was terrible. The only question was who choked more, the Lions or the Vikings? And I still say it was the Vikings and Sam Darnold because they choked twice.
Well, the Vikings should have beat the Lions in Detroit with the way that game went. Darnold single-handedly lost that game for him. I mean, you can go back and watch replays. There's plays in the end zone. There's plays all over where Justin Jefferson, of all people, is running free, and Darnold can't get the ball to him.
Yeah.
Like he's throwing it over his head. He's missing him completely. Look, everyone choked. I mean, the Lions choked. The Lions choked. Goff choked it away. Who did you expect to choke more? Darnold. But who did the worst choke? You could make the argument, Darnold. But it's also a very complicated decision that we would need many, many hours and many. We need a whole TED Talk to go over the whole thing. I need a mic.
Stage, you need a little headset, Janet Jackson control mic.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Hardy, this one's for you. I got a neighbor that'll widen our entire quarter-mile street with a snowblower if the plows don't do enough.
Excellent.
Both sides in his 70s.
Yeah. Good for him. He's doing everybody a service. They should all be thanking him.
I was afraid to turn 50, but if that's how 70 looks, God bless. I mean, let's go. If I'm
Future's so bright, you're going to have to wear shades.
If I'm
$10
Yeah, I want to be here in January. I just want to be right where I am in January.
Right.
And B, I want to be plowing I want to have so much time that I'm plowing the road and nothing else to do.
Feeling all right, getting good grades. Future's so bright.
If I'm living in Boston when I'm 70, either both my kids live here or something bad happened. That's what I'll tell you. All right, we'll be back as we have so much more for you. We have the sponsored stack. We'll have that for you in just a moment.
Boom. I win.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
Hit somebody. We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher.
And the video poker was located at the bar.
Oh, no, it's in other places.
Oh, it is in other places too? Okay, so how much...
I played at the bar for about an hour after I got done walking around and went over to Lafayette, Coney Island, and sat there by myself at the bar and played for about an hour. And then we played for about 45 minutes when Steve first showed up at the hotel. And then we probably only played another hour after the game.
Okay.
Wasn't bad. I think we were, back in the room and asleep by 2 o'clock, which sharing a hotel room with another grown man, I have not done that in a long time. I have a firm policy against it, but there were no rooms, and he was literally only sleeping there for 5 hours.
Right.
So I'm like, fine.
Well, I got a suite for Milo and I because, A, we were going to be there for a while, and I knew we'd be in the room because he cannot go play video poker, and I knew we'd be in the room for stretches of time, and I knew we'd be watching, so we needed a couch. And also, my snoring is a bit of an issue.
I bet.
Yeah.
You didn't bring the CPAP with you?
I don't use the CPAP machine anymore. He said that I wasn't snoring so bad as I was choking and losing my breath.
Oh.
He said that I wasn't snoring loud. Like, it wasn't really like a loud snore. It was more of like a gasp. Yeah, and a lot of movement.
Oh, boy.
Always good for your son, the guy to see his
He
dad.
thought it was hysterical,
Oh,
and I told
okay.
him, this is how Reggie White died. I said, I said, who knows how long your old man's going to be here.
Huh. Andrew Callahan was here earlier. We were talking about the shifting power structure of the Patriots. There could be a shifting power structure of Boston city government involving the Patriots as Josh Kraft plans to jump into the Boston mayor's race. This is from the Boston Globe this morning. Josh Kraft, the younger son of Robert Kraft, longtime nonprofit leader, has decided to join the race, according to 2 people who have spoken with him about his plans, looking at February to make the formal announcement.
That would make it easier to get that soccer stadium built, I would bet.
I've never heard of him in my life.
Josh Kraft?
Yeah.
Neither have I.
That makes me feel less.
You don't recognize him? Been around
Which
a bit.
one is he? No, wait, he's younger than Jonathan? No way. Well, good for Jonathan. If Josh is the younger brother, Josh looks quite a bit older than Jonathan.
Oh, boy. Now you stepped in it.
I'm complimenting Jonathan.
Yeah, but you're insulting Joshua.
Well, isn't that a glass half empty way of thinking about things? I look at it as more of a compliment towards Jonathan. Jonathan knows where I'm at. What's up, Jonathan?
Familiar presence in Boston.
If you're not watching CNBC or Stern.
Philanthropic circles, right?
Stern's got to be a rerun. It's Martin Luther King.
I would think. From Nikki Griswold and Emma Platoff of the Globe, they said he's a familiar circle in the philanthropic circles, but he's got a tough road ahead of him to unseat the sitting mayor, a traditionally difficult thing to do in Boston.
Well, how long a run did Menino have? Just a couple years, right?
Right. And Michelle Wu just gave birth to her 3rd child.
Oh. As mayor of Boston, where are your priorities?
I used to live right down the street from her.
Really?
Yeah, in Rossi. She was literally a block and a half away from me, right down Augustus Avenue.
What was her profession?
Before she was mayor?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was she a wealthy lady?
No, a very, very modest house there in Roslindale.
Isn't that odd? You would think you would have to be quite wealthy to win mayor of a city like, or at least a criminal like Detroit has enjoyed for so many years. Kwame Kirkpatrick and Coleman Young.
Uh-huh.
Coleman Young, who's chief of police, was actively on camera in an FBI sting, encouraging drug running in the city, but yet somehow ran for mayor again.
Yeah. No, Providence has their version of that. I've told you about Buddy Cianci.
Oh, Buddy Cianci is fantastic.
I told you about that.
Yeah, I know about Buddy Cianci. Yeah. He's
good stuff.
That's national stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure
Providence can up it by a little bit.
I'm sure you've heard Coleman Young's name. Well, Chicago is the worst.
That's
it's
true.
even worse than Detroit. But
That's true.
one thing is funny if you go to Detroit, and I know we talked a lot about Detroit, but what do you want? Hardy and I were both just there. One funny thing about Detroit is, like, the mayors have all been normal, like, since until they got a felon. They had a literal felon, and then they were like, okay, enough's enough. But before that, it was this guy, Coleman Young. He was very controversial. He was, like, a big, like, civil rights guy, like, at one point in his life. So he had, like, a tremendous amount of the black vote, but he was, it turns out, crooked. But that's how he became mayor and stayed mayor, right? Like, he had good qualities, so I'll say. But if we were on the 24th floor of this hotel, and if you look down, you can see this monorail.
Oh,
that goes throughout the city. It is the People Mover.
The People Mover. Yeah.
It has 4 stops.
Yep.
Coleman Young was able to fleece the city into building this useless garbage monorail. And to my knowledge, the monorail episode of The Simpsons is based upon the People Mover in Detroit.
I like that.
I know that the anchor is based on Bill Bonds, but that because Groening's from Michigan.
I thought it was Mort Krim.
No, Bonds.
I'm telling you.
All right.
I
Well,
thought
anyway,
Bill Bonds makes more sense, but I think it's Mort Krim.
Groening's from.
Quickly, we got to go.
Farmington Hills.
This is important. 41 years ago today, the Curly Shuffle debuted. And John Wallach, of course, gave us this.
When me and my friends go out on the town, we can't sit still, we can't sit down. We don't like to fight and we don't like to scuffle, dancing all night and doing the curly shuffle. Hey Mo, hey Mo. Hey, well, nyuk, 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 nyuk. Lolly lee, lolly lee. Woo. Well, we never miss a chance. We get up and dance and do the curly shuffle.
Listen how youthful John sounds.
Well, also John's doing that. You know,
we love Curly's brother.
he's doing that a little bit of Dion.
I never noticed that. That's
the
true.
boogie and hustle.
It is
Dancing
some
all
New
night,
Jack
doing
swing
the
in your
curly
voice, like that
shuffle.
seductive.
Hey Mo, hey Mo.
Like, hey,
I'm making this song
Well,
sound
nyuk,
seductive.
nyuk, nyuk, nyuk.
You know what you're doing with your voice.
Well,
It's not an insult. It's just your influences.
Oh, a wise guy, huh?
By the way, John
But we never
legitimately,
miss a chance.
unironically
We
liked
get
this
up
song as
and
a kid.
dance and do the
I did.
curly
I had the 45. It's true.
All right. That'll do it for us.
No better way to end the show, Fred.
I always liked the curly shuffle. It was a good time. All right, that'll do it. Was that when all those girls were here?
No, that was different. That was the Monster Mash. We had the 2 Celtic cheerleaders behind me doing their thing.
They didn't think any of us were cool.
No,
so don't worry.
no, that's painfully obvious.
It wasn't just you they didn't think were cool. They had no interest
No,
in
but
anyone.
they had the dance behind me. You guys were on the opposite side of the room.
Yeah, well, we had to look into their eyes. And they were none too happy. All right, that'll do it for us, everyone. Enjoy your day.